Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to HLTV Confirmed. I'm not dead. You didn't kill me. You didn't get away with it. This time around, though, we're going to do things much more professionally. There won't be any swearing. So let's start by getting all the fucking HLTV.org non-sports users out of here. We want to get rid of them real quick. Let's get them out of here. Ban them all. I don't want any of them watching. Second of all, we're going to introduce everybody. We're back again. Obviously, Prof is here. Striker's here. Lucas, you're here as well. Say hello to everybody. You're not here? The whole stream's not working. Your mic's not working. So we took 3 months off from doing this to fix your mic and it didn't happen. So Lucas is here, I promise you. He's here. He's going to say bits and pieces. And, of course, the special guest, JW. JW, how you going?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here with this fine gentleman.
Okay, well, that was easy. So, Striker, what have you been doing in the downtime, mate? You been keeping busy?
Yeah, sure. I mean, downtime. You mean the last 2 months? Like, how much time do we have here? Like, how much do you want me to say? Like,
Striker was preparing. Like the last 2 months, he was preparing to take you down, and you're stupid.
Exactly.
And
yeah, that's exactly what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
I'm not anti-Krieg. I just don't like where it scales into the game right now. That's all.
Cool.
And Prof, how you been doing, mate? It's been a while.
Amazing. Couldn't wait to get back.
Okay, well, everyone very enthusiastic here this evening. It is a Sunday night, so thank you all for joining us. CIC ended today, but we do have some cool new things. I think they're cool. So let's kick it off. We're going into, are you ready, Lucas? Drum roll, please. Recent news. Any moment now. Any moment now. We're back? We're back. Okay, there's a slight delay there. So you guys get that cool little wipe. We're going to have those running now between certain segments. So we're going to get stuck into different conversational topics. And we're going to keep the ball rolling a bit because we tend to all agree on a lot of things, strangely. So we'll try to keep things going if it sounds like we're all just rehashing the same point. So we're going to get stuck into the juicy news straight away. For those of you who weren't reading HLTV.org or DK's reports or whatever, the first one is the ESL Major in Rio, or at least the rumors of it happening. Now, we're going to keep this simple. The yay and the nay buttons, which Lucas linked us all at the start of the show, I want to hit those right now. Do you think that a major in Brazil will be good, yay or nay? Got the everyone here is seeming quite happy. Okay, so we've got 4. We're across the board, and JW, well, you're the guest. So give us your opinion on why you think it may be a good major.
I mean, it's more likely that you guys are going to be there than that I'm going to be there.
What?
We'll see about that.
Dropping bombs. So practice didn't go well today, JW.
Yeah, it went perfect actually, but I mean, you guys are safe. I'm not. But I think like everyone knows that the fans over there are very, very passionate about the game and about obviously their teams as well. The only like downside I can see would be that, let's say MIBR, Furia, they get knocked out early, right? And the fans just disappear. But I don't think that is going to be the case. And I think if it happens to be a major over in Brazil, I think oh shit, a bubble. I think we're gonna break like records when it comes to how many fans we have on spot. So I think it's gonna be.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I put the up just because the Brazilian fans. If I put the nay, wouldn't be nice for me. I feel like so I had to go with the safe option. Maybe I'm there. I don't want to get into any negative relationships with the Brazilian fans. So. Great country. I was there for Sao Paulo for Blast. I was able to walk around and I didn't die. So some rumors about the unsafeness of Brazil have maybe been exaggerated a bit, but honestly, I think it could be a massive arena. Just judging by the Blast event, by the ESL Pro League and stuff that we had there, it was pretty packed. And then I don't know, for a major it could be pretty insane.
I think one thing that we could be a little bit, skeptical about could be the infrastructure behind it. And it's all obviously dependent a lot on what kind of venue is chosen and stuff like that. But what I'm basing this on is the Pro League that was in Sao Paulo, which was, I think, was season 5 in 2016, at the end of 2016, if I'm not mistaken. And that was riddled with a lot of issues that came from the venue being not particularly sufficient or modern and stuff like that. So I'm tiny bit worried about that part of it, but I'm sure the actual show of it and the fans are just going to be insane.
I'm also gonna say I'm a bit worried after knifing Fer in that final round in Turkey. I got a lot of death threats after that one, so I'm a bit afraid.
Yeah, I think obviously people from like face value on the internet, of course, get a pretty negative opinion of that fan base, right? And that's what comes with the territory. It's probably a lot of people on like HLTV.org who like fake flag and do all that kind of bullshit as well. Like we have no idea where these humans are from, but I think most individuals are pretty sensible. You know, I think that the people who are actually dickheads, it's like the same people who, you know, send me horrible things and all that kind of shit. That guy that messaged Anders just the other day telling him he hopes his family gets fucking AIDS or whatever they wrote. That kind of stuff. That doesn't actually make it to events because the people who have the audacity to write that shit are just in life generally pussies. So I assume that we're going to have, you know, a fantastic event if it does end up there, because these are only rumors, right? We don't actually know where the majors for next year are going to be. They haven't been confirmed yet by TOs or Valve or anybody. The main point, I think, is the fan base and what JW was saying about breaking records. You could, I think, go there and probably get like a 20,000 arena, right? Like Obsida. And if you had the Brazilian teams in attendance at all, you could pack that thing out. So the positives there in terms of the fan base and having a really good live event are there. It's just we have to get over a few hurdles. Now, we've got the timer going. That's good. We're underway. So for those of you who just noted, there's a little timer here. We're going to try and keep everything quite succinct. We have an overtime button that we can use. We have all these other features that we bring in if we want to spend a bit more time talking on things. But do we think we've covered most of the stuff with this major rumor? There's nothing else other than a rumor if we think it'll be good or bad. Everyone happy?
I am.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the next one here, in my ticker, it still says God sent sign team and win. But what we actually wanted to change that one to, and I don't know, we'll just click it anyway. What we actually want to talk
Dignitas story, right?
Yeah, we want to talk about what's going with Dignitas. So I'll quickly surmise what happened with this Godsent thing. Obviously, Pronax and Co were looking for a roster. Smash was the team with like STYKO and Makalele, etc. They were no longer a part of Smash for whatever reason. I don't know if they wanted to leave or if they were kicked or if they were going their own ways.
I mean, it was explained. It was pretty simple from what they said. The Smash team didn't have a salary there even. It was like a trial thing that. Like they had a 3-month trial. Smash was supposed to get like some sponsors because even though they were like famous DJs, whatever, they didn't put any money in it. They just like hired a manager who you needed to run everything. So that guy was kind of in the way of signing something, I guess some sponsorship or whatever, but they didn't get anything. And in the meantime, he was also trying to replace like half of the roster with some other players behind the players' back. So 2 + 2 is 4. They went to Godsent, which is like a normal organization, right?
Yeah, and that makes sense. They're over there, and then they just were at a tournament over the weekend, and they won it, right? So things are looking pretty good, pretty straightforward over there. What we want to do though is we wanted to talk more about this Dignitas roster, which for those of you who didn't get the report on that, it is basically friberg, Xizt, hallzerk, and Forest, who is still currently a member of NIP, apparently meaning to get signed to Dignitas now. This one right here, I guess let's bring out the buttons again. Do we think this is good or bad?
This is
if you double click then it makes the extra down.
Yeah, everyone not happy with that. Prof, you were first, so maybe you can go first on why you think this is
I mean, it's
bad.
literally like if the 5th guy has like a time machine, then this is a perfect lineup.
Okay.
Like brings everyone back to 2013 and then dominates. But without that, like these are like 3 old players. Okay, Forest can still play from time to time, like on a great level, like a top level, really. But other than this, is like, what is this lineup? Like hallzerk is a kind of a talent guy. Maybe we didn't see him at any like big event yet, but he has some good stats, stuff like that. How can this lineup work with like Xizt, friberg, Forest, who like 2 years from now, a year from now, he's not going to get better. He might, in the best case scenario, he'll stay on the same level, which is he has like some good events, some bad events. I don't see how this can work. Like, what is this lineup even?
JW, for you, obviously being in the Swedish scene, you probably hear things. You probably get murmurs coming across your desk every now and again. Have you heard anything about this that you could disclose, or is this just a rumor?
I mean, there's definitely something to it, I think. But from what I heard before, I think it was a report as well, but from what I heard like behind the scenes and stuff like that, I think Getright was supposed to be included in that lineup as well.
Oh my god.
I'm not sure if it was a report or if I heard a rumor.
I heard similar rumors.
Yeah, so he should be the 5th one, I guess. To me, like it's it's kind of a yay thing for maybe Xizt, Friberg, and Get Right in that case, that they maybe try to do that one last ride together. But the biggest nay for me is obviously Forest. I think NIP is actually turning into something interesting lately. But I also think by looking at their matches, I think you can kind of see from the outside that Forest is not really satisfied within a team. I think he looks pretty. I mean, he have fun outside the game with them, but I think when you watch him playing the game with them, he looks pretty not happy. And I think maybe it comes from them having different philosophies on how to play the game. So I think it's interesting for sure, but I'm not entirely sold on it. And I don't understand where hallzerk came from into this discussion, actually.
I guess they just want to keep the tradition alive of going through in a fifth AWPer who they can just keep kicking until they get good results or something like that. But
I mean, he can probably speak some Swedish, like he's Norwegian, right? So they understand each other.
But I mean, I think also from rumors, I remember Golden tried to assemble a lineup in Sweden before, which I think maybe Xizt and Friberg were supposed to be in, but then it was also two younger Swedish players, I think. So yeah, it's interesting that hallzerk came into the whole thing out from nowhere, in my opinion.
It's surprising they didn't go for like Nork or one of those up and coming youngsters.
I think those guys are kind of deadlocked in
JW with the first hand experience.
Yeah, rumors as well, of course.
Yeah, of course. No one knows where that information came from. Certainly not firsthand.
Well, to top this all off, they could just add Fifi as their coach or something along those lines, right? Like that would make this the full set. But Striker, do you have anything to say before we move on to the tricked point?
Not particularly. I think everything's been said. Have the same kind of reservations.
Okay, so I think this is going to be an important thing to talk about here anyway, because it's going to go across to the tricked being bought. And I don't actually know who bought tricked, but if I was going to hazard a guess, I would say it's probably the same newer name teams that we see getting involved now anyway. So like TSM want to get back involved, obviously Dignitas in this rumor, Genji wanting to buy some teams. Now, unless you're all oblivious to the fact that this North American league that's kind of been rumored to be going down had like a buy-in as part of the rumor or whatever, and all these teams that we're hearing about are all ones who like to buy into franchises anyway and have been in the past, I would say that all of these teams that are being bought are probably going to have like a proviso of where they have to go live in North America while these North American seasons are on. It's not a North American league in terms of just being North American teams, but it's, from what I understand, that's why these teams are getting involved. I think that's pretty obvious. So we'll click on the trick to find new home.
That is also a topic we wanted to just like move on from and go to the Pro League thing.
But I mean, we can still narrate, I guess, right?
Yeah. Do we think this is good? A tricked good for a new home? I think we must be agreeing they work pretty hard. They've got Hund in there, good for they can finally get paid probably a decent salary and get some more opportunities to compete. I think more opportunities like that is good, and I think we're probably all on the same page there.
Yeah, I would assume Tricked wasn't a mega organization that gave them like reasonable salaries, especially for Denmark.
I mean, for Denmark. If they paid that to like Serbian players, they'd be like top 1% in the country. So Croatian as well, not trying to like start a war again. So just like that. So yeah, I think it's good.
Okay. So that one there, for those who aren't aware, it hasn't been announced who they're joining, but they've been signed and it's meant to be some big deal. Let's move forward to these Pro League groups, because this one here is going to be quite the discussion. This one here is going to be one that we might need some time for. So get your yays, get your nays in there, get them in straight away. And I think
this is pretty.
I can't imagine JW saying yay.
Yeah, I can't imagine either. Now, do we have the groups available, Lucas?
I just linked it to Lucas so he can pull it up.
Now, let's bring this up so we can let the viewers who are watching see what we're talking about, and we can all see.
Let's just say focus on Group A that is conspicuously different from Group B.
Now, I want to, before we get into the discussion too deep, I want to try and play devil's advocate off the bat, because I know.
I wonder why.
No, because I know the way people are going to look at it, and they're going to say this was seeded really shit, and it looks like it was. and we've come up with a solution. Striker and I were both trying to come up with solutions that are better than what they've done, that we'll show you guys as well. But look, you have to think about this as a regular season where what happened in the regular season matters for the finals. So the problem we have here is North America, outside of 3 or 4 teams, is shit, right? We don't have to mince words. They're just not as good. But the problem is they get weighted as heavily. That's the problem we have, that they weighted like ATK's group and fucking 100 Thieves' second group phase as heavily as what they did of, say, Fnatic getting through, or North getting through, FaZe getting through, G2 getting through. So because there was only 2 teams that came through in the second phase for North America, they had a higher seed than Fnatic and North, which is ridiculous, right? We all know that as a concept is ridiculous. But the reason they did it, if you're standing back and you're looking at it from like from their perspective, at least I'm trying to do that, I can see why they did it, because if you're trying to pair them up, right, across the board, then that's where you can see their logic coming from. Now, is it shit? Yeah, it's shit. Should they have made some subtle changes so it wasn't like this? Yeah. I don't think we should be having a group where we have EG, fucking Fnatic in there. Well, obviously that's going to happen. We are going to get groups of the stacks, but I think it's the more so that, what was it that you came up with, Strike? You came up with some number about the teams?
Well, basically, like what I wanted to come up with was basically place them or rank them 1 through 16 based on placement. So whoever ended up 1 through 4th in each region ended up with like a 4.5 seeding, basically all of the 8 teams, those 8 teams that ended up first in their region. Outside of, Europe and North America, I just left the Asian one for the bottom 2 teams, basically because it's the weakest region. I think we can all agree. So basically, Tyloo and Greyhound are 15 and 16 seeds, or like 15.5 seeds on this basis. And then Fnatic as the 3rd place, or like 5th to 6th place, went from like a 10.5 seeding or something as like the lowest, or was it 7th to 8th even? But whatever, you get the point. And then I ranked the teams by their actual ranking as well, like 1 through 16, based on where they fall in the ranking among these 16 teams that are in the Pro League. And then I just simply averaged them out, rather than doing it by the pools like 1 through 4 and stuff like that. I just averaged those 2 ranks out.
You said they should make, like, your idea is to combine. We need to use an overtime, by the way, because we're out of time. So
are we going into overtime? Or?
Yeah, throw it in there. This
overtime.
is one that we need to talk about. So throw it up, Lucas.
Who is using? Someone needs to use
several. I'll use it. Let's go.
Use the SPUNJs. Let's go. Yeah, right. But Striker's idea is just like to use the seeding pools and then to use the rankings and like add it up, divide by 2, and you get the final seeding, right?
Exactly.
Which sounds okay.
Yeah, I think it sounds okay as well. But to me, I think you don't even have to consider it as like a regular season. I think you can do it like, to me, it's all about getting to that Odense, right?
Yeah.
And I think when we come to Odense, it's like a total different event, at least from a player's perspective, I think. So I think that you could just make sure that teams go through in a fair way, like they've done with LAN and all that. But then when you actually come to the LAN, you can either redo the seeding, or you do it like teams that I think ECS do that, like teams that qualify high, they pick a team in the other group and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think there's many ways to just do it a bit better.
That's always the criticism towards leagues, right? This has been the case forever. That the problem is like that the regular season took place quite a long time ago, and in that month quite a lot has changed, and it doesn't necessarily reflect, especially when you look at Sharks, being basically first seed in a group that only features Latin American teams. So that's basically the problem.
Yeah, I think like someone said in the chat, like most players see it as a qualifier, not a regular season. But I also understand that ESL needs to have the structure. You also need to kind of have it like a regular season. But yeah, it's a hard one for me.
I think that the best solution for the tournament overall is to do what you're suggesting by reseeding everything, and that would be the best. However, the people need to look at this like a business, right? So if you look at it from ESL's perspective, and they want to be able to have a lot more viewers during the regular season so that there's more weight in certain matches and where teams qualify. It's like, oh, well, we know that there's 8 slots for Europe. So it doesn't matter if we get through, in first position in the first group, or if we get through in the last position in the second group we play, just as long as we get through. Well, from a perspective of ESL, you kind of want, or any tournament organizer, you kind of want every game to matter. You want everybody to be playing at 100% to get the highest spot possible. You want them to play for seeds, right? So those little bits and pieces there are unfortunate. I made this. This was STYKO was just explaining his method. I did this, which is still putting, if we can bring it up, Lucas, it's just a Google document, where all I did was I just kept them in their seed pools, right? So teams, we're going to see it in a second here. All the teams in the beginning there. So Australis, EG, Liquid, Na'Vi, Mouse, MIBR, Heroic, and Sharks. They all came through in their respective regions first in their groups, right? And then all they did was reseed the teams based off the current ESL rankings from 1 to 8. So Australis would be the first or the highest of that seed pool, and Sharks would be the lowest. Then you go down to the next one, which is where, we had Fnatic come through, we had G2, we had FaZe, we had 100 Thieves, and we had ATK from North America. Well, they're through the second group phase. So once again, you just get those 6 teams and you seed them from, highest to lowest in terms of their world ranking. So Fnatic, 100 Thieves, that all makes sense, right? And then you go down and you get Greyhound and Tyloo being the 2 weaker teams from the weaker region. And then that's how the matches and kind of the bracket looked for me. So it feels like
ended up with a very similar result to me, except for
Fnatic plays Sharks. I think JW agrees with this seeding.
But yeah, so you see like this.
Actually, these teams are hard. I think, especially for us. I don't like playing those kind of things.
Are you playing against them at ECS? What's the
we have them in the group, but we play MIBR first, and it's Astralis, Sharks, and winner MIBR Fnatic play winner Astralis, Sharks.
Right.
But this here was just another solution that they possibly could have gone for that wasn't as harsh as what they've clearly found ourselves with, and probably would have made things a little bit more fair, I suppose. Yeah.
I don't understand why this wasn't. Seems like the obvious solution. This is when I saw the groups, I thought like this is how they did it. But then when you go through the seeding, through the rankings, it's obviously not. And even I find it kind of funny that Greyhound now they managed to kind of climb some rankings. They beat like Liquid, they beat EG. That was Malmo, right? And they're higher ranked than Tyloo and North or someone else. They're like, okay, they're moving up, and they still get Astralis, the best seeded team in the world first. Like,
yeah,
imagine coming to like international tournaments for like 2 years, and every time your first match is against like the best team in the world.
Yeah, it sucks, man.
Knows something about that, right?
Couldn't tell you how that feels.
Going home fast.
It means you get more days to practice. That's all. No, wait. Back then there wasn't prac room, so we couldn't even practice.
That's right.
You could watch matches.
Yeah, that's back when drinking was more of a competition for us.
Yeah, you became pretty good at drinking back then, I think.
That was one of our highlights. Okay, so here's the thing. We're out of time for this first recent news section. I think what we do is we come back to what happened at CAC if we have time towards the end of the show, and we'll try and smash through these other bits and pieces. So the next one we're going to go to, Lucas, I hope you're ready, is the good, the bad, and the ugly. And, well, guess what? That was the intro. That someone worked really hard on that. I don't know who did. I'm going to give that a thumbs up. I was pretty happy with how that whole intro thing kind of went on down. Okay, so what we're going to talk about now is the latest update. And there's lots of points to hit with the latest update. So where do we want it? Let's start with the agents, the new skins. All right, let's have a little bit of a conversation about that one off the bat. Now, have you been playing with them on or off, JW?
First day I think we played with them on, but after that everybody played with them off.
Okay, so like just for your team, or everybody you practice and shit as well?
Everybody we practice as well. It's kind of like a gentleman's agreement, I guess. People ask for it to be turned off in the beginning, and nobody ever said no yet. So, but I think the agents thing, like, I'm very supportive of it when it comes to the casual side. I think it's amazing for the game itself. I think it's gonna help the game grow a lot because it's this kind of thing that people want. I mean, that's That's the honest truth. But it's kind of they ship something and it doesn't feel done. It doesn't feel that they think it through 100%. They just ship it, and we are facing the consequences, I guess.
So with stuff like this, we've seen, like for example, where do you land on the flash assist situation? Do you think that's something that should only be seen to like Go TV as well? Because I know that's another one which is like a cosmetic change that's meant to show like casuals, hey, look, you can get a flash assist, but technically for professional play, it can actually be very detrimental in knowing how many players are holding bomb sites or things like that. Do you feel the same way about that kind of a change?
I kind of like that kind of a change because to me that adds more of a elemental to the game where you can mess with opponents. Let's say overpass, you can. What can be a good example? Let's say you are on B lower, you flash banana and someone push on A. The B player gets a flash assist on A, and maybe they think that okay, the B player is over on A, let's go to B. Like you can do those kind of things. So it's at least adds some value. It's nothing that is like game breaking to me or even necessary, but I like that you can at least do something with it.
Okay, have you actually done that? Like, have you experienced that before where you thought, okay, this guy got a flash assist that probably shouldn't have happened?
I mean, you think you do, but I don't think anyone
like has it actually
it.
Yeah, has it actually
I don't think it
affected
actually have worked, but you like to think sometimes that they go into a stack or something like, yeah, that was my flash.
So you're hoping it works, but you've never actually experienced that.
Yeah, I
Okay.
try to think that it works, but I'm not sure.
Honestly, for me, as a casual player, the way I use flash assists is when I die, if I'm flashed, I look at the kill feed. And if I don't see a flash assist, it means like my teammate flashed me, and I can flame all of my teammates. So that's how I use it. I find it very, very useful.
Okay. That's good as well.
So that makes sense. On the topic of the casual side of things, Prof, have you had much of an opportunity to play the missions or anything along those lines?
I just installed the game, of course, because I rage deleted it like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So I installed and I looked at it and I'm like, this shit is pretty good. Like from a casual standpoint, the operation, everything's just like right there. You turn on the game, and obviously we saw. I think we peaked above the like 2017 player base, like active users, 700,000 playing at the same time, which is great. So I think from that perspective, this is definitely the good side of the patch. For casuals, they brought in missions and stuff like that. Brought in agents, they brought in new skins. Good shit. So good stuff. Overall, good stuff. I think, obviously, the agents are not working in the like the highest level of competitive play. It sucks. It shouldn't be there. At the same time, I think a lot of this like moaning about CS becoming pay to win is absolute bullshit because
yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Getting one kill, which isn't even like people. Like, let's say that overpass situation where the screenshot that like Don Hatsi put out and was from some stream. You go through Monster Tunnel and a guy is standing on those, like, on that, I don't know what.
On the railing or whatever it is, yeah.
On the railing, right? If someone's standing there, you're going through Monster, you're going to die anyway, right? You're literally going to die. The first guy is going to die, the second maybe trades. If he is visible or invisible, doesn't even matter because you're not looking there. So you didn't, like, the guy didn't even get an advantage. Of course, it's idiotic that you can't see him, but it's not a big of an advantage. Like, getting 1 or 2 kills more per game is not pay to win. Obviously, it gives a stupid advantage that should not be there, but that can be fixed and is not like a start of this game becoming like War of Tanks. What is it even called? World of Tanks?
But I also think that it's a matter of I think it's a matter of not like being used to it as well. I noticed like when I played. You see the guy, but you are used to see another model, right? So you're not really reacting. So I think like you just have to play with it, and you're gonna get used to it. And because we are used to playing with the same models for so many years now, that like people whine when they release these models as well with that you have now before the agents. So I think it's all about getting used to it. It's a change, and overall we dislike changes, but. Yeah, the biggest nay for me in this patch is the Vertigo. I think they just can't make up their minds about the map. It feels like, and like every time you put in time to the map and you learn it and you like try to get good on it, 1 week later they change the whole map and it happens all over again. That is the
that is
thing
pretty
for me.
dumb.
Yeah, that's it's just what's making Vertigo like this. Not really a big pick for anybody just because of this, since it's like at most you have a month to kind of learn the changes of the map. I don't know, the last big update came maybe like a month ago or something. So like in that time, sure, like only a handful of teams are actually going to practice it enough to be able to pick it and to be confident on it.
I don't understand why they did that. Not the last not this update, not the last update, but the one before that. Like after the major, they had that. They changed kind of the spawns, and they put that like they changed the fork
gap
position, and they put the gap in the sandbags, and that was the meta playing around that sandbag gap. Right, that was kind of okay, except that gap was kind of dumb. But at the same time, Astralis threw out like a boost behind the fork. You could easily see the guy if he's playing there. It wasn't even like, I think that version of Vertigo was pretty good. And then they, for no reason, changed everything about the A site. They changed mids. They just removed the door. They completely changed the map for no reason, in my opinion. There was like a month maybe played on that version of the map. And now they changed it again. I didn't even see this last version. I don't even know what they did. I know they kind of changed the yellow part. They kind of made it a bit easier that you don't have to jump and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like it's becoming kind of dumb for pro teams to even play the map, right?
I think the biggest change is probably around middle, right? Like how they've had that extra little room as you go towards A, and then mid you can actually play on the scaffolding in CT spawn now and like AWP a line down mid. But other than that, the other changes are still very similar to how it was before they did all when they'd done all the drastic changes, right? When they'd taken away the fork and all that kind of shit from that room. Have you guys played a lot, JW? Because I know you guys haven't played official on it.
I'm probably gonna shoot myself in the foot here, but we prepared it for EPL. Sadly, Crims couldn't come with us, so we couldn't really pocket pick it, I guess. But then we felt good on it. We felt ready on it. But then after EPL, they changed the map, so we have to work on it again. So all the time we put in prior to EPL feels kind of wasted for us now, which is also pretty rough as a pro team because you have so small amount of time at home, and we actually take that time to focus on one map, and one event later they change a lot on the map. So I think it's just stupid to even have it in a map pool if they don't feel the map is ready, I think.
Yeah,
because that's essentially what it feels like. They don't feel that the map is ready. So why do they have it in the map pool?
But the problem is like they only figure out what the problems of the map are once people play it, and people won't play it if it's not in the active map pools. So that's kind of like a loop that's hard to get out of, I think.
Yeah, look, I think it's one of these things where they did it with Overpass, right? They did drastic changes on Overpass, but the problem then was we didn't have as many tournaments going on. There wasn't like as much Counter-Strike constantly on the circuit, and teams, you know, if they were playing these maps, they could maybe. I remember in Australia, right, when Cobble and Overpass came out, we couldn't even play them because there was so few teams to practice against. To try and practice a whole new set of maps like that, nobody wanted to do it. And now it's kind of changed in the sense of there's so many tournaments, there's no time to sit and practice those maps. So would you waste your time on something that you probably won't play because everyone else is going to kind of be perma-banning it? That's where the whole discussion about that comes in. But like I was a big fan of the version before where you could jump down through and you could do the aggressive players in A ramp. I think Astralis had a really cool like set of moves they had there. They had already come up with one for the other version. We saw it go down versus 100 Thieves in Beijing. But now that it just keeps changing, it's like what is the point? But speaking of good changes, maybe we could move to one where we get the opinion on that of the SG, of the Krieg. So for those of you who missed the way that they nerfed it, and I used that a little bit lightly because they didn't change the gun in terms of any of the weapon values. They just put the price back up to where it originally was, right? Now, I think this is probably the right move because I think it should be worth more, but I think that scaling the gun into the game is more beneficial than nerfing the gun and not being used anymore, right? I think that having it so it's still as a part of the game, but it scales in, you know, we see it come in maybe rounds 5 or 6 or some shit as people start to get a bit more money, then we can see it have value in the game. Because I'm not against the idea of having more rifles. I just think something as powerful as that Krieg could come in later. And I'm going to get STYKO right now, I'm sure, telling me all these stats.
Look, it's mostly about one thing that I wanted to kind of counter you with, but we can get to that later.
I can chime in before he goes into the whole thing. Just for me, even though I agree that just bumping the price is like kind of the first step, why did they wait so long to only bump the price? Like, they could have done that at least a month ago.
They did it with the AUG the same way, exact same way. They first bumped the price back up, and then they realized that wasn't enough.
And then like 2 weeks later, it's like, oh, everything the same. So like they could have done that a while back to see.
It was actually 3 months.
What?
It was actually 3 months for the AUG when they nerfed the price back and then nerfed at the actual gun. It was actually 3 months long, that gap.
Okay,
so it took them quite a long time before they realized it was still not enough. And that's just how Valve are, right? They always take their time with updates and making sure that they have enough of data on what's happening, right? And look, I'm not here to argue that the Krieg is not powerful. I think everybody can attest to that. Everybody who's ever played against it, or even from how much people prioritize it now. Lucas can show a graphic that I made for an article that's going to come out in maybe a couple of days. I still have to write it up, but I have all my thoughts put together and stuff. But you can see like at least how the popularity of it rose. I can give you like some cliff notes from what I was going to do, which was kind of about like what this nerf is going to accomplish and how the Galil and FAMAS are going to come into it, considering it's they've been made a little bit cheaper. What I wanted to counter SPUNJ with, I'll just start with that. Fuck it. Are the second round Krieg buys, because that's obviously something that's been kind of, I guess, gotten rid of, because it's now you have to have a kill on top of a bomb plant to be able to buy the Krieg second round. So it's kind of making it a little bit different, especially with the Galil now being able to, like, you can literally buy 5 Galils and armors if you want to, and have some utility on top if you have some kills from the first round, and put the bomb down, obviously. So that's probably going to go away, which is one of the points of the article. And what I wanted to get in touch with was actually how much of a myth it was that the second round Krieg was that powerful, or those force buys were that powerful. Because if you look at the actual stats, people won those rounds only 41% of the time. Like when they actually force bought, like I gave myself a limit of 12,000 in equipment for that second round, so that it's actual force buys second round that's and how successful those are. It's only 41%. Only for those rounds where it sees force buy, not overall. Overall, it's only like 17.
I don't think that's a low percentage though.
That seems like a very high percentage.
Overall, it's 17%. Like overall, second round win rate for T's who lost the pistol is 17% overall. Only those force buys that happen have 41%.
But I think there's also a lot of rounds where they just drop one Krieg, for example,
course, yeah,
and that one Krieg does win the whole round pretty much, because that's how good it was.
Honestly, I can tell you from going through those numbers, I can't tell you what the actual number is for those rounds only, but those low buys, like where it's only like 6K or something, they work out very rarely. Like I can't tell you the number, like I said, that's not what I tracked in those, because it's hard to say for me, like what they actually bought in those rounds. But those rounds actually are nowhere near as successful as this. Those 12K, 15K buys where they actually have the money to buy a couple of Kriegs and buy a bunch of weaponry alongside it.
I think the thing here is that you should not be able to, on the second round of the game, buy the most powerful gun in the game.
That's fair enough.
I think that like right there should be the benchmark. It's like, how the fuck did we go from a game where you would lose pistol, and if you didn't get a plant, it was likely that you were taking 2 saves, right? Obviously, we had the force buy meta. JW participated very lovely in that meta back in 2015. But now, like, I get the whole reason that we're like moving, and I have no issue with people wanting to force buy in the second round. I remember back in the 1.6 days, the Asian teams, they would drop Galils across on second rounds and have like 2 rifles going into rounds like that and make them work. Like I don't have any qualms with that. I just think that the fact that you can lose pistol and go into the second round of a game with, on paper, like have 2, maybe sometimes 3 Kriegs. You can have fucking, like, obviously we're not having everybody with armor and shit, but you can have these crazy buys, and you compare it to the CT who they have some MP9s. There's some poor guy has a UMP. Maybe a guy got a couple kills so he can buy himself a FAMAS, which is now viable, but before kind of wasn't. It's like, it just shouldn't exist that way. And I don't want double ecos. I don't want to see a boring game of Counter-Strike where there's double ecos and there's certain rounds which are unwinnable. But I think if you win certain key rounds of the game, you deserve to like have an opportunity to have a bit of a breather, or at least force them to make a difficult decision. Whereas at the moment, or at least it was just buy. We buy. It's like the only time that, so JW and his boys, for all of you watching out there, in case you guys don't know how to watch demos, if they don't get the plant on T-sided pistol, they will take the eco. Right? That's what they do. That's their thing. If you watch their demos, that's what they do. So, but there's a lot of teams who will just force buy regardless at the moment. They'll just fucking get it done.
Look, can I just throw out one more number regarding that? Not specifically regarding those rounds where you actually don't get a plant, but just to support what I was saying before was before or during the AUG meta, the second round force buy after T's got the plant down and lost the round, it was only 41% of the time. So like 2 out of 5 times they forced bought second round when they got the bomb down, right? Now it's 77% in this meta right now, from like Cologne up to Beijing, where the ESG started coming up in popularity. So like 4 out of 5 times you get the bomb down, you force buy the second round. It doesn't even matter what team you are. You're just going to do it as long as you have you have a couple of kills with it, probably. That's basically what I was looking at. And so yeah, you can see how much has been swaying people. But at the same time, like the actual second round force buy win rate has gone down because it's now so popular that people are prepared for it. I think that's the biggest part of it, why the win rate is not as high as it potentially could be with how strong those weapons are. Because when I look back through those previous 2 periods where it's the AUG meta and like the pre-AUG meta, it was actually a 55% chance win rate in those second rounds, and then 50% for like AK M4 meta, normal meta that we were used to in 2018, basically.
So this is what I wanted to say, just to address and to add on to what Striker just said, and some tweets I put out like a couple of weeks ago, putting out some stats about the stats kind of correlated what Striker said, like buying the Krieg second round gives you like 40% win rate. The problem is not the Krieg. Now that the Krieg is more expensive, probably people won't be buying the Krieg, but they can force buy into an AK. And they can do the same shit more or less because the AK is still powerful and the Ts have so much money that money gives them the win percentage, not the Krieg. It's having weapons not needing to have full armor as the CTs need to have, because the one guy with the Glock, he can kill you. So you have to go full armor as CT. You have to have def kits. You have to have more utility. You have to have more expensive guns. So overall, that part is what fucked up the second round. And that's what Striker says. Before the Krieg, you could have more success. People had more success with those force buys. So, yeah, that is the problem. At the same time, that is kind of now addressed with the FAMAS and Galil. Not addressed, but it's going to be changed, right?
Well, that's what I was going to ask about. Like, do you think, as I said, like those force buys were nowhere near as popular as they are now? Like from 40% to almost double that, from the AUG meta to the SG meta, basically. And so do you think now that people have gotten used to those second round force buys, they would actually force buy anyway, even though the Krieg isn't available? Let's like disregard the Galil change, right?
We can ask JW, because exactly. He's been practicing with the new update. What do you think? What is happening?
From my experience, now people don't really force up that Krieg anymore. And many of the times they actually can't do it as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest thing. Like you all pointed out, to me the biggest issue is, even if you lose the pistol round as T and get the bomb down, you kind of have a better buy than the CTs the next round, because CTs need to focus on nades because they need to block certain spots and all that. And even if they didn't focus on the nades, they would go for like an M4, but they couldn't get head armor. So the T's always had a better buy, and I think that has been the problem. But from my experience so far, people, sure, they try to force up, but you need to kind of have a strat in mind now. If you get an AK up, it's nowhere near the same power of the Krieg, because the AK still need to search the angles in a different way, and you have more time to respond and all that. So it looks good to me right now.
Do people do those 5 goal buys that people are kind of worried about now?
It haven't happened to us yet.
Really? That's surprising.
Yeah, we tried it once, but it was the same thing there. We did it. Sure, that round worked out, but we still realized that we need to have more more of a plan, because you can't buy 5 Galils
Mhm.
full armor.
Right.
You need to have someone sacrificing for nades and all that. So I think that makes it a bit interesting, but I don't think it was needed to lower the Galil like that.
Well, do you think
But-
it's actually better? Because that's kind of a subjective part of the update, because they said like the spray patterns are a little bit easier now, or whatever it was exactly. So do you feel like the FAMAS and Gull have actually improved?
I think they probably have improved a little bit, but it's still like CS players are still CS players. It takes time for them to. It takes time for them to even try it, and when they realize that it is good, then they're gonna abuse it a lot. Same with the Krieg,
Sure.
right? So I think it's gonna take a lot of time before people actually buy into giving the Galil and the FAMAS a really good chance.
Yeah.
But based on the few practices I've had so far, I think the meta is changing into something good now. It feels like people have to think through their buys more. It's not really a no-brainer anymore to just get those Kriegs up. And if you actually do get like 2 Kriegs up, you lose that round, then you need to kind of take a double eco and you're down 4-0 instead. So I think it's getting pretty interesting right now, and I really like what I've seen so far. But then again, CS players are pretty good at catching up, and when they find out something is good, they're gonna abuse it. So we'll see in the future how things develop.
Do you like the game more? So this is a question, right? Like when we had all the economy changes and stuff happen, I was like, "What the fuck is happening?" Like I was like, "What the fuck are they doing?"
What a surprise, Chad.
Rant about the economy.
I'm not ranting about it. I just
Volume
want to.
25.
I just want to like, because you play so many matches, right, Jesper? You guys play so many fucking games of Counter-Strike, and we watch so many games of Counter-Strike. Do you think that it is delivering a better viewing experience, or do you think it's just delivering more action per round?
I would say it's more action per round. To me, watching the games, I don't feel that it's like before. You could feel that this round is actually really, really important. If they mess this round up somehow, that can cost them the game. I never get that feeling anymore, pretty much. And it's also when I play, it's like we sit there and we're like, okay, we win this round. It's a really important round for us. They're gonna have eco next, and we win that round, and they have like 2 ops and 3 Kriegs somehow. we don't understand how, because that's how the economy works. Like I still haven't learned how the economy works, because I feel like you can't. Maybe I'm just a stupid guy, but it's really, really hard to figure out, like with all the kills and all that, how much they actually get. So yeah, I think it's more action per round, but I don't think that it's necessarily more interesting for the viewers. At least it's not for me. But I might be a loner.
No, you can come on this show every time you want, JW. Anytime you want to come on, just let us know. I'll make space. I'll kick whoever the next guest, because that answer right there is exactly how I feel. I think that they've taken away. Oh shit! What? It's all right. We pretend nothing happened. I feel they've taken away a part of the game, which, you know, the way that it would ebb and flow, and that it doesn't exist anymore, and that's a little bit unfortunate. We got some technical issues, obviously, ladies and gentlemen. So there we go. Lucas has fixed those. What else from this update haven't we really touched on, guys? Obviously, we spoke about the
I want
missions.
to just finish back on the models, because
Sure.
agents, because we didn't. I think, like, what is going to happen moving from here? Like, do you think Valve is going to address these things? Because I think there's a lot of ways how they can address this and make it better. And I think they already started with kind of equalizing the shadows and stuff. They brightened up some parts of like Inferno.
Yeah, apartments, etc.
Yeah, right. So I think they don't think like this is a done deal. This is done. They don't have to do anything about it. I think they are trying to figure out a way that this can be like not competitively game breaking, but they're kind of trying to figure out, and of course make it the easiest way for them, because Valve, they're lazy. At least that's kind of the feeling that they project around. So what do you guys think is going to happen with the agents?
Just quickly, right? FM Pone made a tweet saying that he thinks it's most likely that Valve are just going to try and change parts of the game, right? Like he was going to try and change some visibility things on his map to make it easier. So I think that unfortunately is just going to be the case. And this is based off the tweet that I made today as well, where I think that the only way that it's at a major, when we rock into a major, even if ESL, even if Face It, even if Blast, if all of the TOs come out and they say, yeah, we'll ban these skins, we'll ban them, you can only use the default ones per map, that's fine. As soon as we roll around to a major, there's no way. It doesn't matter who's running the major. It does not matter. They cannot enforce that rule. Valve, if they want the agents to be used, will say, yeah, use the agents. And then it just comes up to the players. And if the players are the ones who, like JW said, are already having a gentleman's agreement, they have to stick that way. But it's like the gentleman's agreement we had with Big at the PGL major in 2017, not to abuse a jump bug. They still did it. Like there still are several, like very few, not they weren't doing it every round, but they still did it a couple of times. Plus, even if they jumped over a wall, who are we to like know if they were doing it to abuse the glitch or if they were literally just jumping over a wall? I know the skins is a much different situation. You either have them on or you have them off, but there are cunts out there, man. There are people who do anything to win.
But I think maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I've heard before that if you want to be having the shot at getting a major, you need to follow the same rules as Valve. I'm not sure if that's correct or not.
No, I don't think it is, because like that was back in 2015-16 when all of the banned players couldn't play in like ESL Pro League.
Maybe it's like only that thing, because I remember, like for example, DreamHack, they haven't gotten a major in quite some time now, I think, and they are the only tournament having that coach communication rule.
It's not because of so when you pitch for the major, you're obviously pitching to play under whatever their rule set is. So like if DreamHack ran a major, they would either have to get a special exemption from Valve that their rule's okay, or they would have to Valve would just say no, you're not using that rule, right? Like the main pitches that go through are probably never coming down to that like nuanced level of those little details. It's probably more about like when ESL pushed the boundaries of the format, like they did it there at Katowice, right? For example, that's something that they would have had a lot of conversations with Valve with, but the way that they get Valve to be like, yeah, let's do this one, is you have to sell them something. Like you need to show them, hey, we'll take it to this crazy exotic location, or we're going to do this in terms of our coverage on broadcast. We're going to bring in all these elements, or we're going to have a stage for every section. You want to give Valve something that they're like, wow, this hasn't been done before. So that's kind of where most of the pitches, they get their green light from. If they can offer something new, or if it's a location that Valve wants to go, I think those little rules, they're probably like the last things that they'll ever talk about.
Okay. If anything, like from what I know about the Valve guys, they're quite maybe not encouraging per se, but they're okay with organizers trying their own things and like trying to like play with the formats and stuff like that. So I don't think that's an issue with them at all. Like as long as, like Chad says, when they actually do a major, they follow the rules that Valve have come up with, or that Valve feels strongly about, then it's okay. But yeah, I don't think any tournaments outside of the actual majors or anything are really affected by this.
And just the most common question, or the most common from people in the community, and I also saw pro players saying as well, and look, if we could just make the decision as a collective and put min models back in, that'd be great. But there's an old saying my mother used to say, it's cutting off your nose to spite your face. And there's no way that Valve would ever put their profits second, right? They're not going to come in and put in min models when that would take away one of the elements of the game, which is how they can generate cash flow, right? As an independent company who answers to literally nobody, Gabe is the fucking king of the mountain. There is no reason that they would come in and do that. They would just come up with ways that they can make the game viable with as is. And then you tie that back into what JW said, if the players, it takes a little bit of time, but they start to get used to these models, and we remove any areas which are hugely exploitable, then maybe we find ourselves in the middle ground.
I don't think you can ever like fix all of the maps to suit all of the models.
No, I think it's more like the models.
Yeah, I think like one of the solutions is like, why don't they have like the same model but in different kind of like color schemes, right? If you have like the FBI agent, which is blue, why don't you just have a green version of him? I mean, obviously, like FBI agents wear blue. Who the fuck cares? Like, this is a video game. Just make them green, and that's it, right? So I think that's a thing that they can do, and that would solve a lot of issues. Just like as like in the game, like a month ago, we have different models, right? Not every guy. One guy is like darker skin, brighter skin, sunglasses, whatever. So it's kind of similar, but still, they are different. But just keep the same color scheme depending on the map for all the different models. And that's it. And also make them the same fucking size and make them wear fucking helmets. Because that part with like one model is not visible because it doesn't have a helmet. That is also ridiculous. So those things need to be sorted out, and no map update can change that. And so either you fix the models so the models change, or you make something. I don't know. I read someone saying that you can have the models for your teammates be like the same, like the agents as they are, and then just like force min models on the enemies. I think that's a kind of an okay middle ground between Valve and the community.
Look, especially if you could make this work without it showing up on stream, like right? You could have this work
on
only
GoTV,
for
it can be
players,
all the normal, all the agents as the players use them, right?
So I think that's possible also.
So
although
like
I don't think it's likely either.
It did come out today. I see him in chat, did spam it a couple of times, that ESL and ESEA banned all of the agents being used in their like online competitions or whatever. Like ESEA, if you pug, you can't use them. So the problem is that is a very hard thing to enforce, because someone can just come in, play it for a couple of rounds, and how do you report them? It's kind of a mess, and I hope that is not something you want. Like really, that is a big mess. So
I think also like I also don't really want the min models thing to be a thing, because if I remember correct, if you have that min models, every guy's gonna look the same, right?
Yeah.
And right now you can't choose what the model you're gonna get. So for example, if you play CT, there's like 5 different models or whatever, and some are gonna get some, and others get others. And for example, when we play, let's take Dust 2 for an example. If I peek mid with AWP, I see that the guy who's holding long with that model is crossing to B, then I know that the long player is over at B, right? Those kind of things is always gonna go away if we put in the min models, and that also, like with the agent thing, something that people are gonna do, I think, is that everyone is gonna play the same model, and even take it further, maybe people are not gonna use different gloves and all that, because that is free information for a pro team. But I think as I said before, I really like the agents, but yeah, it has to be like even conditions. I don't think it's pay to win or whatever people say, but it has to be very, very even, everything.
All right. Well, I think that's a nice way to put a bow on the end of the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we've gone over the update. We've been over the recent news. We might touch on CSC again at the end. But now we're going to move into one. And JW, this is where you're really going to come into focus. We're going to run the video, Lucas. It's quiz. It's you versus the chat. So let's rock it. All right, so are you smarter than Twitch chat? I guess we stole this one from Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? And like all the best work I do, I steal everything. So I've been hard at work getting new names for things. And this one right now, I'm going to give you a little bit of an explanation, ladies and gentlemen, in chat. I might have to unmute all of you ingrates of cunts so that I can actually read it. We're going to ask questions, and you're going to have the opportunity to vote in chat by using A, B, or C. Then we're going to have a little counter come up that is going to show your votes. Obviously, JW is going to answer as well. And we're going to go through these questions. Now, who has the question?
I just hope I didn't get anything wrong, because I did it like last minute. I think they're going to be good.
Okay, so Prof, you have the questions. You're going to be in charge here of asking the questions. And
I guess they're going to show, right?
We're going to show the questions. Okay, great. Okay, well, can we get underway with question number 1 then, Lucas?
Okay. So this is the first
yes.
time I'm on stream.
We can hear him now.
Yeah.
Okay,
they can hear me. So basically, we're gonna show the questions here, and the chat get 30 seconds to answer them, the same time JW has, and then once the time is up, we just say like who picked what, and we count the scores at the end. It's that easy.
Yeah.
All right. Didn't sound that
and
easy.
JW
but,
closed the chat. Just gentleman's agreement to not look in the chat.
So if you guys open the link that I sent, we can all get ready. Are you ready?
Wait, I don't have to do anything now, do I? Isn't this nice? I get a break? All right, great. I can just sit here.
So
I think I'm ready.
If you're ready, let's get into the first question. Nobody's gonna read it out loud, so I don't know if anybody wants to read it
Do
out
you want
loud.
me? I'll read it out loud.
You
I'll
can
the
read it
question
out loud.
All right.
Okay, so let's go in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, which team did Jax join G2
That's
from?
the wrong one.
That's a picture of me.
That's
Wrong
the
answer,
wrong.
but the
That's yep. Let's just take the correct question. That's
Okay. Should we try that one again?
we're gonna try that one again.
All right.
There
we'll
we
try
go.
That one again.
In 3,
Line
2,
three.
1.
Okay, which event did SPUNJ defeat Titan at? Well, this is a fucking difficult one, boys. I don't know if you're going to be able to get this one. That is me. That actually is me. So.
Did you ever defeat Titan?
What the fuck?
It's not like he mentions it every fucking day.
Well, yeah, there's no point in talking
Does
about the time
does
we beat
JW need
Fnatic
to
on
press
Cache.
the answer or what?
No,
I think
no,
he does,
no.
yeah.
He just
no?
has to say.
I'm just gonna say.
They just need to
okay.
say it. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there's the options. Yeah.
It's a tough one. Probably one of the toughest.
I'm gonna go with C.
You're gonna go with C.
Yeah.
Well, the correct answer, just double checking it, is B.
It's definitely B. Yeah, we at the qualifier. At the qualifier, I think we body bagged some other teams. There was the one, but it was at the main event. We played TSM first on Train. This was just after we beat you guys on a map at Gfinity, actually. And then we beat Titan, and then we lost to NIP on Inferno.
So, just to round this up, 179 people answered B. That's far.
Literally everyone that ever watched
Yes.
this show before knew the answer because SPUNJ
Because
talks
SPUNJ
about
mentions it
every
every-
show.
If you have so
opportunity.
few victories like I do, you got to talk about them, right? It was on Mirage, and I wrecked them.
All right, loading
Let's go.
up question number 2. Oh, not ready. And we're gonna say 3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Which team did Jax join G2 from? This one is correct. It's a correct picture.
I think you got a freebie on that one.
I actually don't think it was the middle. I think it's A. I'm pretty sure it's A.
How long are we
Jake,
giving
lock
chat,
it in.
Jacob? I agree with Jacob. Lucas, how long are we giving chat?
So the
Right.
chat got until the time runs
Do I
down.
press down here or?
No.
No, you should just say, and we'll wait until the end.
All right.
Why I still have SPUNJ on my.
Well,
it's
I've
not
definitely
fine.
got
It's
Jax.
just an hour between
Jax.
broken.
I don't know. I have it
Happy
right.
Jacks over here.
There's a
So
shitload of votes.
the correct answer is A.
CJW was right.
Yes.
There you go.
And Twitch chat actually
Almost
got.
You got baited by
I
the
almost
B.
got a bit bamboozled there when the mid thing was green.
So
Also, we're both getting points.
you're
Fuck.
both gonna get points.
It's hard to come back.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to come back versus these Googlers.
So
Yeah, 30 seconds is a lot of time. Maybe we should make it like 5
Yeah, we
just
might
to
have to
make sure
cut
nobody
down
Googles, you know.
their answer time.
I mean,
here.
they should get less time than me.
Fair enough.
So we're gonna
Alright.
get
I'm
back
ready.
into question number 3.
How many questions we got?
10.
Oh, Jesus.
10,
All right.
holy shit.
This one.
Ooh.
I think it's B.
You're gonna say B.
It actually could be C. I'm gonna go with B.
Alright.
I think this is a trick question done by Prof here.
Yeah, I think it's tricky because I remember Energy winning something in China, but I think
Yeah.
it was an IM event.
I am Shanghai over Tai Lu.
Yeah, and that was.
That was Beijing. Wasn't it Beijing? No, it was
No,
Shanghai.
that was
You're
last
right.
year
You're
in
right. You're right. You're right.
Shanghai,
Yeah.
Yeah, it
We
was the
stayed at
event
this
that
awesome
did not.
hotel.
It did not count towards the Grand Slam. I think
That's right.
Yeah.
it was a bit lesser teams, I guess.
So with
That's what I
60% of the votes, the chat also said B, and B is correct.
Oh.
So
Very
it's
close.
3-2.
We have some more.
That first one is gonna cost me fucking SPUNJ.
Sorry, man.
So
Yeah.
question number 3. If it updates, there we go.
I thought you'd remember that one because you won that major and everything. You should remember every game.
Oh, this is a tricky one.
Oh, what is this one? Envy's current lineup is Fugly, Nifty, Ryan, Som, and I can tell you if you want.
That's not how it works.
The Android guy used to be in Complexity, right? Floppy I've never heard. So I guess it's Relics. B, I guess. I'm probably gonna get... Or maybe... I'm gonna go with B.
You're saying B?
Yeah, I think I fucked up here.
Well,
Yeah, you did.
with more than 80% of the votes, the chat is going with A, and A is correct.
Of course.
Android couldn't make it to their EPL match because of some
There's-
visa issues, and then they didn't qualify for Pro League finals.
There's absolutely no way these cheaters in chat are not Googling. Like,
100%.
there's
Yeah,
no way
of course
80%
they're
would say
Googling.
Android for a team like Envy.
Yeah, I lost.
There's no way 80% people in this chat know for sure that there was Android. Like, I had to think for a second to remember it as well.
Yeah, but...
Ready
but
for
since
the
they
next
can't Google,
question?
they're smarter than...
Yeah.
Really.
Which
Yeah,
team
that's
did
C. That's
Snatchy
C,
join
for
Virtus
sure.
Pro from?
That must be C.
What did you say? Okay, lock it in. Can you just lock it in when he says, so we can just say like?
Oh, you
cut
mean
it-
click the
cut-
thing?
So we can cut off all of these people in chat before they get to Google.
you want to just log it in now? You're
Yeah.
saying
Yeah,
what?
Yeah, just lock it in now. Lock it in.
C,
now.
C,
He said-
C.
he said
C.
C.
Well, chat actually said the exact same
Already
thing,
went away.
and it is.
I haven't put Mihu here to like bamboozle people. Maybe like think like, Mihu, King Win, stuff like that.
Fuck,
Didn't
that's
work.
some 3D chess right there.
Ready for the next one?
I'm always
Keep
ready.
them rolling. Which of these players had the highest rating at the Star Ladder Major? Your options are Nico, Ethan, or MBK.
It's probably not Nico, and it's probably not MBK, but I think it's gonna be MBK because of that reason. I think it's a trick one. I'm gonna go with C. Actually,
It is a trick one.
I'm gonna go with C.
You're going with C.
MBK, yeah.
Locking in the chat, they're saying B, and I'm just gonna.
I think B is the obvious one, so that's
Yeah,
why
but
I'm not
Ethan-
picking it.
Ethan struggled a lot, didn't he, when Stan first joined? And that was like only the second
Yeah,
or
maybe he
third
did,
tournament
actually,
with
that's true.
Stan and the team. And then he's only recently been getting back to good form. So maybe you nailed it.
The answer is actually A.
Oh dear.
Nico.
Was a trick question.
It
Yeah,
was a
that's-
trick question.
that's
Everyone in
tricky.
chat got
So-
no one said
So,
it.
we
Nobody
both
said
got
A.
fucked up, right?
So
Yeah.
you're both not getting a point.
That was your chance, man.
Easy. Fuck.
Nico had a 1.0 rating, which was like mega bad for his
yeah.
standards, but these guys were like
They might
MBK
be
had
worse.
0.86 or something.
Sounds like my ratings.
By the way, for people who
This
didn't
was my comment.
realize how this question worked, it's just among the three, not that Nico had the highest rating at the entire major. Just to
Next
explain the
questions,
question a little bit better.
This was a harder question to Google, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
True.
Load her up. That's what they should all be like. See how much harder we can make it.
Which player was first to join NRG?
Ooh.
There's Ethan again.
Oh, yeah, it's either Ethan or Breeze, but I think it's A.
You think it's A? Locking in the chat questions, they're also saying A. And the correct answer is actually also A.
Oh.
Because
We really-
Ethan came from CLG, right? Pretty sure
Yes,
Ethan
yeah.
played in CLG for a
CLG
little while.
Yeah.
fell apart in like 2018. By the way, I have a special question for Striker at the end.
Okay. What the fuck?
I have a special one for JW as well, like
Oof.
next to last, I think.
This question is really long. I don't know how it looks on the stream, but I hope it works.
Let's see.
No. We're gonna say, here we go.
Complete the PGL minor, MLG Columbus Cringe Gods lineup. Moken, Rezex, Rez, Draken, and whom?
I'm looking in C. Pretty sure it's C.
Zen, Disco Doppler, or Freddy B? Zen being the Finnish player.
Yeah, lock it in before the chat is googling.
I mean,
Yeah,
the chat
look at
hasn't
it. I
even
think you got
answered
it.
yet.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah, they are
They
now.
did
They
now.
are
They
They
did
did
now, but it's not
now.
C.
We have 80 votes. Well, the chat,
just lock
if we
it in.
go,
Just
if we
lock
log
it
it
in,
in
it's
now,
not C.
they said yeah, A.
Yeah,
They
so
said
lock
C.
it in.
bro.
We locked
Lock
it in.
so I have the comeback chance, right?
You say
Yeah,
C,
exactly.
C.
they
I
say
C,
A,
yeah.
and you're actually fighting back because it is C.
Nice.
Now
So
it's
there's
Yeah.
only 2 questions left, though, right?
Yeah.
Or
yes,
three.
yes.
So the best you could do is get on top of them here.
Oof, I need to go 100 here.
So, question number 9. Let's just make sure to remove that.
Who did Nip beat
You'll-
in the final
you'll-
of DreamHack Bucharest 2013? That
I'm
is
locking in
Silvio right there.
C, locking in C.
C. Again,
Yeah,
we've
C.
only had 1 vote in the chat.
Okay, so give them,
Give them like
give
50 votes or something,
Uh,
and then lock it in. Do you like the picture?
Every-
That's a
Does it
pretty
bring
good
in some memories?
picture. some
Awkward
good
picture. Yeah.
discussions going on right there.
The only person I recognize is Khan and Silvio.
This is Fisku.
Fisku.
from
Fisku
IP,
in the
right?
mid, yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, well.
Well, the chat also overwhelmingly said C.
Fuckers.
How did they know that one? I did not expect that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably
Question.
just copied what Jesper said.
Yeah.
So I guess it's
It all
6
comes down to this.
to 7. It all comes down to the last question. It
Wait,
kind
do
of
this. Don't give your answer, Jerabi, until the time is almost over.
Yeah, give it like a.
But
like
the thing
a
is,
5 seconds.
But
or
then
something.
they Google, right?
yeah, but then they have the time
Yeah.
to Google. So
Sure.
maybe
Just wait for like 5-10 seconds so they can start answering and then say yours, then we can lock it in because they're
Yeah,
delayed
okay.
like 10 seconds.
Yeah, learning
yeah.
as we go.
Yeah, I'll try to do that.
It's a work in progress.
good luck.
Who played the most majors, qualifiers / challenger stage, not included? Did A, Fox, B, Oscar, or C, Mixwell? Oh dear.
That's
This is a special one for me?
special. Yeah.
I think I know.
Because we have like a Portuguese, Spanish, and Czech guy, so they always fight about like players better, right?
I'm saying A.
Locking it in?
Well,
Lock it
you
in.
were saying A, and the chat got over 80 questions now, or 80 answers, and they're saying
that'll
B.
do.
The
Okay,
answer
let's go.
is actually A.
And JW's done it. He's tied it up here at the final moments. The race has been on.
I'm
We'll give him
surprised.
the victory.
Whoa.
We'll give him the victory because he didn't use
That
Google.
was a tricky one.
Yeah.
Those questions were harder than I thought.
I'm
I
honestly
tried to
surprised.
quiz.
I'm honestly surprised Luis is not using this against me every time we have the argument about Fox versus Oscar.
Yeah, but hold on a second. Fox didn't have to qualify for some of them,
Fair
right? He
enough.
just got taken in with them,
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
Brazilians.
One
so,
was with the Brazil guys. The other he was together with
With
the
G2
G2
and
guys.
King. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe
and
if
European-
Oscar was a more likable teammate, he'd be invited as well.
wow. All right, that's a bit of BM
Whoa.
right there. Jesus. I tried to quiz.
I'm
fucking
using their recent Twitter drama to fuel this.
Ah, okay. What do we got next? We got the big 4 battle at ECS. Should we move? We'll keep it moving. We'll keep it moving on. We're going through this quite
So
swiftly.
we are equally stupid, me and Twitch chat.
No, you
Yeah, the thing
win
is
because
I
they
didn't-
cheated.
70% is not too bad.
Yeah, we didn't think about like tiebreakers or anything. I think you're the champion here because you did it alone and you needed
That's
like
true.
how many people? A lot of people.
So
Yeah.
which one was the special question? Was that one?
Yeah, that was the last one.
Yeah. So you had one for him as well, right?
I mean, it was just the internal memes, right?
Oh. Okay.
Oh, all right. I thought it was something crazy exciting, but we didn't
Ah.
quite get there. Okay. Well, we don't have a lovely wipe for this. We're just going to get into the conversation. We'll keep this moving. This is obviously ECS coming up. For those of you who aren't too awares, their regular season has come to a close. We will be doing the finals over there in Dallas. The big 4 names that we're focusing on here are Astralis, EG, Liquid, and Fnatic. Where do we want to start this conversation?
I think EG, since I made this topic, kind of changed. Their setting around the team kind of changed with all the CS:GO Asia Championship results and stuff like that, right?
You're not going to keep them up as part of that conversation?
I mean, they are still a part of the conversation, but they're kind of falling down, right? Because this was not what we expect from them, and
Well,
that's combined with Beijing, right? Before that.
Well, let's do this.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's go JW, other than Australis, who do you see as your biggest opponent here? And then we can start with that team. You don't have to say that.
I guess to me, Liquid and EG is kind of the same right now. I think both are showing some what to call it, like they
ups and downs.
Yeah, they have some weaknesses, right? So I think both are in it to win it. Both really have to prove not only for themselves but also for the others how strong they actually are. But I place Liquid slightly above EG as of right now. But also EG beat us two best of threes in Turkey, so yeah, we have to watch out for that. But yeah, I think Astralis is the big horse here.
Can I just quickly touch back on that, because I was obviously there at the event with you guys, and I saw after the final that you were kind of like laughing it off and stuff like that. So I think it kind of showed how different the mentality of this team is. So can you maybe speak a little bit to that and how you took that loss in the final to them?
Yeah, so I mean, the biggest thing was for us that whole event, our CT sides were kind of a joke. That was our biggest thing that we laughed about. We had some great T sides, and we wouldn't have won a single game, I guess, without those T sides. So yeah, and it was also like we felt that they didn't have the balls to pick Vertigo on us in the final. We kind of laughed about that, like this is stupid for them to pick us into Dust 2 again, right? And we had that 8-0 lead or something. We killed Stanislav when he was crossing mid like 3-4 times in a row. Like we felt at that point like this is our final, boys. And then obviously our CT sides was second to non-existent. So we just kind of laughed about it in the end, and yeah. But it's something into what you're saying as well when it comes to the mentality of the team. I think the biggest change in that aspect is Flasha. He's way more calm about things after losses and all that. He used to be maybe the most hot-headed guy after losses before, but now he's kind of the guy that brings out a joke or try to get people laughing, right? So okay. I think he have made the biggest change in the mentality of the team in that aspect.
Cool.
So obviously looking at this, you guys are in the group with Astralis, and then you have Sharks and MIBR in there as well. So maybe we'll just start there. I don't want to offend anybody here, but I don't think we should spend too much time talking about Sharks. They're probably just one of these teams who come in, they're a little bit exciting because you haven't really heard of them before, or the last time you heard of them was probably the same situation last year. I'm pretty sure they were events of last year as well, right? Something along those lines. But
they beat North and they were at the minor, but now they got in two new players, right? The two Argentinians, Lucan and Mern, and both are kind of exciting prospects, especially Mern. So from that perspective, that's the kind of the angle I'm looking at. How can these like individual players? I mean, even like Exit, Leo Drunky, all kind of okay players. So this is their time to maybe show what they got. Of course, I don't think their like peak is getting out of their groups, right? I don't think anyone can expect. I don't think they expect to win this event with top 4 teams in the world being there. But like getting some maps and proving that they have something, like expanding what they did online, beating Cloud9 and other teams. I think that is what their like limit is at this event, right?
Sure. Yeah, I think there's not as much upset potential here. If they can get a derby victory against a lot of MIBR or something, then that'd be pretty good for them. But otherwise, we shouldn't be seeing too much there. I think we can probably put EG and Liquid in the same boat, right? So the last time we saw Liquid would have been Blast, I'm pretty sure, right? They came over, they played Blast, and that was it. And obviously there's been a lot of discussion about the amount of tournaments being played. EG, I think a tweet came out from I'm a Pet saying they are going to have played 24 LANs this year or some shit, which averages out at about 2 a month, which is pretty fucking insane. And then when you consider
that was more than SK did like 2 years ago.
Well, I think when you consider as well that the fact that some of these tournaments go longer than a week, right? So the major, for example, like if you played in multiple facets of the major, you're playing for more than just a week, and you're playing for several weeks at a time.
They did. They were from the beginning to the end, right? They were there from the minor. They went to the minor. First stage, second stage, playoff, they did everything, right?
Yeah, so there's a lot of events being played there, and I think that putting Liquid and EG maybe in the same. I think Liquid will come in with more stuff that people won't know because they've had more downtime. But I think both these teams we could probably put in the same boat, at least in their approach to the game, like very individual heavy, and if everybody's on point and they can synergize well and they can trade well, and then it looks really good. But the thing that we were worried about, I know we spoke about this on the show earlier, is when Stan joined the team was. Sure, he's going to bring more firepower, but he's not going to bring any more structure. And it feels like the structure that Daps had is now almost completely whittled away from them. It just feels that they're so super momentum based as a team that if they're going from event to event, they have to be on their A game every single time. And that's just almost impossible to expect when you're on the road so much, right? Like, I don't know how anybody can be at 100% when they're traveling as much as what these guys are. They were just in China, they went home, and then they came back to China, right?
And now they're going to ECS, and they're going from ECS directly to Pro League, right? With no downtime between the two events.
That's worrying for sure.
They were at the airport. They were getting thrown on a shuttle after winning New York, going to Malmo, right? Like their schedule.
They banged out
fucking ridiculous, right? Like, so this is where I get really worried for EG in this one, because Avantgarde and NIP are no slouches, and they haven't had anywhere near the same amount of like calendar time taken up recently as what they've had. So if they're going to come in this deflated from CAC, I think that there's a real chance that EG go out in groups. Do you guys think similarly to this?
I think what you're saying there, especially about Avantgarde, I think it was an interview with Buster here from CAC. They said like they're also playing kind of a lot of events right now, but ECS is their last event of the year, and they'll be putting in everything because they know this is their last chance to do something, and they're dropping in the ranks. They knew, like, this is their like classic Super Bowl versus just another game for Evil Geniuses, right? So I think that is going to be a motivating factor for those guys, and they're not a joke team. I mean, they're not a top 5 team where they were ranked for a period of time after the major. They're not the second best team in the world, but they are still a pretty solid team. So
it's also worth mentioning that ECS is going to be the first event without with the new changes. So yeah, also something to note.
I mean, especially about Vertigo, also different. Will have 0 days of practice on that.
Yeah. That's exactly my point, because like all these teams outside of Avantgarde, I guess not, but Liquid have had a bit more time with the update. NIP probably have had a bit more time for the update. Same with Astralis, probably it might be a little bit. So.
I also think it's really interesting with the NIP. The reporter out, Forrest, is he out of the team? Like, they can play with no pressure. Maybe like that is going to affect them either good or bad as well. So I think that's also a very, very interesting take on that group, how that is going to affect them. If it turns out to be true, nobody of us know if it is. But I really think that even if EG was prepared, I think NIP would have been an interesting team in that group. And with EG just coming from this tournament, I think it makes it even more interesting.
I'm just going to throw something out there, right? I'm a little bit surprised that ECS have actually... I know that it was kind of... imagine that it was kind of a discussion with the Players Association around when this update should be rolled out in terms of like what event it should be at. So I'm a little bit surprised that ECS... It was as early as ECS that the update is actually used. Anybody else feel the same way?
I mean, GW probably knows about the discussions. Like, why did they put it in so early? Do you think it's like kind of surprising from your perspective?
As far as I know, all the teams attending ECS got to vote yes or no, and the majority voted for it to be played. So
okay, it could be also that just because there's EPL coming up right after, so it wouldn't really make a difference if it was played now or at EPL. Yeah. At least not for the teams that are playing ECS.
It's a good decision though to remove the agents for now, because as you said, most of these teams have been on the road. They haven't played it at all. I think it's enough that even some of the teams that play Vertigo is gonna have a new Vertigo to play on. So I think removing the agents is a good thing.
So just while we're on that with change as well, the event's only... Is it a 3-day event or is it a 4-day event?
4 days, I think.
So 4-day event, right? So there's still... People will get home... What's today? People are going to get home within the next 12 to 16 hours, right? Or they'll go straight to Dallas, pretty much, because I guess Media Day has to be on
Media day is on
one day
Wednesday.
before.
Wednesday, right? Yeah, so there's still a couple days turnaround where they're obviously not going to be playing a lot of Counter-Strike, but they might get to address a couple of these changes. I'm sure everybody was looking at it. I saw on the Instagrams, the MIBR guys were all going over that shit as well. So they're probably going to be up to date on all the major things. It's just, I just think that like the travel that these guys are doing to still perform at 100%. I know we had the whole period of time where we were critical on like Astralis taking off a lot of events. There's a difference between taking off a lot of events and there's playing 24 LANs in a year. Now, I made a tweet a couple of months ago, and I think I was saying something about like if you're a strategic team, like more, let's use Astralis as the example. You probably need the downtime between events to go home and like retool and come up with new stuff, so you're not so easy to read, right? But if you're like a team who's individually based and you're running on like momentum, then it's probably better to attend all the events. But it's not better to attend all the events if you're literally flying around the globe on a consistent basis, because you're like, I just did 8 weeks on the road, right? And I don't even fucking play. All I have to do is stand there and be a clown, occasionally make a joke, talk about Counter-Strike, and not say any bad words, right? That's my job. That's pretty much all I do. I slept for like 16 hours in the last 24 hours. Like that was the first time I've had an opportunity to do that. I couldn't imagine how these guys can go and do that and then have to like put out so much when they're competing and then go home and relax. Like it must feel like such a fucking weird thing.
I think it's very individual as well, but at least to me, it's way worse to get like 1 or 2 days home before going to the next tournament. To me, it's way better to go straight from a tournament to another tournament, because at least for me, when I get home, like the body is starting to feel that you're home and like relaxing,
decompressing, right?
Yeah, like relaxing, and you only get to do that for like 1 up to 2 days, and then you're straight out on the road again. While when you travel from one event to another, you're always in that travel mode, kind of.
Yeah, but
so
do you find yourself, coming off worse after like when it's a longer time though? Like let's say you were on the road for 2 weeks and then came home, compared to maybe 3 or 4 weeks when you're on the road. Like, is it so much worse after those 4 weeks, or is it kind of the same?
We have never actually been that long for on the road, but I can just take as an example, like we had the EPL group stage. We went home for 24 hours, I think, and then we went to Turkey. And that Turkey event for me, it was like the longest. It also was actually kind of the longest event ever, I guess, in CS.
It's like 8 days, yeah.
Yeah, it was so long and it's so exhausting. It was so much gameplay. Like that whole event, I was kind of wrecked, only because I only had like 24 hours at home. And I think if I went straight from EPL to Turkey, that wouldn't have affected me that much.
Okay.
So that's very individual, but I think these teams, they have like 2 days at home now, and I think that's even worse.
That was a good question from the chat, actually. Is Crims all right? I haven't seen anything on Twitter or anything. So have you been able to practice with him and stuff?
Yeah, he's back. We played with him ever since we got home from EPL now.
Oh, okay, cool.
I think today was the first day he actually felt 100% again. So he's ready to rock.
Cool.
So let's do this. Let's predict our top. Let's predict who we think is going to be in the final, and then we'll move on to doing the fantasy. So we've got Group A, which is Liquid, EG, Avantgarde, and NIP. Who do we think are the top 2 teams going through there? We'll start down the line. We'll start with you, Prof.
Group A. This I don't see.
This is such a weird group, honestly.
I don't see Evil Geniuses doing well after like 2 Chinese events where they finished 5th to 6th, and they're coming straight back to this. I just, even though that in itself is a pretty bad sign for a team of their stature to not go out of the groups here, but I'll pick like Liquid and NIP just because of the freshness factor. NIP showed some good stuff. I think those are the 2 teams to go through.
All right, I'm going to just be like ridiculous. I don't know why. I'm just going to go with EG and Liquid just still, even though I just cited all the reasons why EG probably won't make it through.
Look, it's perfectly possible, even if EG are not at 100%, even if they are at like 70, they could still beat Avantgarde and NIP. So it's like, that's kind of the thing that's making this group really weird. But look, I'm gonna say Liquid and Avantgarde, actually.
All right, JW.
I'm probably gonna be the craziest. I'm gonna go with Avantgarde number 1 and NIP number 2.
Oh, wow, okay.
I think Avantgarde and NIP both win their best of 1 games in opening. I see NIP winning the best of 3, and then I think I think Avanga is gonna beat Liquid in the best of 3 last game.
Okay, and then we'll come back down because you're obviously in this group. You think you and Astralis from Group E?
Here I think Fnatic #1 and Astralis second.
All right.
Okay.
Striker?
I'll go with the other way. Astralis #1, Fnatic #2.
I think it's going to be those
Without
two
the bias,
names.
it's just MIBR have not done well against you in the past couple of events. So that's how I feel. I'm obviously Sharks. I don't expect to do well. Although, as you say, those matchups can be weird.
You see,
But I guess you're not going to meet them if you.
Obvious pick is Astralis and Fnatic. But
Yeah.
about MIBR, what do you think about Fallen going back to the op instead of KNG?
I did see that. I think from a role perspective, if they want to have someone a bit more explosive to be able to like be more versatile, it makes sense to not have KNG doing the primary T-AWPing, right? Like, it means he can be a lot more flexible, means he can be a lot more aggressive. Because before they were probably very reliant on him just finding the openings with the AWP. Like, we know Ferg goes aggressive, but he goes like crazy aggressive. He doesn't go like run on in and just entry into a bomb site. So I think it's probably a good change. And then on the CT side, if they run the double AWP setup with Fallen and KNG, that's going to be really good to watch. But I think their problem is still like their map pool. I just don't think they have enough yet.
I think like aside from the role thing, I was kind of underwhelmed overall by KNG's opping. Like what he did before in the INTZ,
Immortals?
right?
Oh yeah,
INTZ, Immortals of course before, but that was a long time.
Yeah.
But INTZ, he was opping all the time. He was doing good stuff. He took the op from Yell, so this was a kind of a similar situation where the in-game leader opper was Fallen. He took the op and he was just not hitting shots. He just wasn't having a big impact. So it's not that they didn't let him to do stuff. He was allowed to do stuff, but he just wasn't performing.
I mean, a part of it was just because he wasn't. I don't think he was allowed to do the same stuff though. Even from my talk with Fallen at Star Series, he was talking about how they were trying to give him like some of the supportive elements that Fallen was known for, and most oppers do nowadays, especially if you're a little bit more passive. So I think that kind of screwed him up as well. Just trying to adjust to that system, where before he probably had a lot more freedom with whatever he wanted to do than in MIBR. So I think that might have been a part of it, and that's why they're coming back to Fallen, who is just used to that role a lot more.
Well, Fallen was the highest rated player for them at CAC, and KNG was the lowest rated player for them at CAC.
Yeah, right.
So you're seeing like the direct impact of that. I'd have to go look at like stats before that to see where Fallen was and where KNG was. But regardless, there wasn't like they were getting a lot of victories, right? Whereas here, they managed to make it at least to the playoffs. So there's something to be said there.
While we're on the topic of this tournament, I want to ask JW. Obviously, you did the roster change. For me, and I think for a lot of people, it's kind of weird. Like if you wind back 2 months ago, just when you announced the roster change, I don't think a lot of people would say, okay, Fnatic is going to be a solid top 4 team in like 2 months' time. It kind of came by surprise. Like, are you surprised by what you managed to do in such a short period of time with this roster?
Yeah, definitely. Especially because we actually found ourselves in a situation where we couldn't get the player or players we wanted, right? So we had to go for second choices, and yeah, it feels like everything clicked very good instantly, and I think we all felt that we developed way faster than we all thought we would have, and I think that also sparkled a light in everybody that this isn't necessarily like a second chance lineup. It could be the first choice of everyone, right? So yeah, I think I'm surprised, but when I pick the lineup as well, I kind of see it coming, right? I would never play in a team that I don't expect can be battling in the top as soon as possible. But I'm still surprised on how well we are going forward and actually keep improving.
The thing, like, from watching you guys, that's the hardest thing to comprehend and explain on an analyst desk. It's like, what is good about what these guys do? You can know, yeah, well, this guy's good at this and they're good at this, but the way that you guys just stay so calm in the mid rounds, like, I know you can't tell us how, but is like Flusher coming back a huge part of that, or do you think you would have had that if you had anybody as that individual?
definitely it's a lot with Flusha coming back. It's like me, Flusha and Crims, for example, have played together for so long now, and even we played with Golden at one point. We feel like when we play, we have this kind of sixth sense, kind of like when I do something at this part of the map, I know that Flush is gonna do this versus them over on B, and at the same time, I know that Crims likes to react in this way. Like we always know how each other reacting on different things without communicating. So I think that's the biggest thing, that we're so good at adapting and understanding what we can do on each other's plays. So yeah, Flusha has a huge part in that, and I've also said it many times before that I think he's easily the smartest player to touch the game. I still think that, so it helps a lot to have him in the team.
I guess you feel like it's more like something special rather than, being together for such a long time, obviously kind of on and off, but it seems like something that not every team could have just by the virtue of, being together.
Yeah, and I also think that this time we had like the breakup we had, right? I think that was a really, really good thing for both of us. We both didn't
saw some
really
other people, took some time off.
But it's like we didn't develop that much anymore because we didn't have to. We knew what we're gonna get from each other, but being apart, we both had to improve, like social wise. We had to improve on in-game stuff and all that, and now it's clicking really, really well within everybody in the team. So I think everything happens for a reason, right?
Right.
Yeah, fair enough.
There's just one question in the chat. I think the guy's name was Kenny SexD. He asked, like, can you clarify the golden situation? I think he was referring to the things that were on Twitter like a month ago or something about like you kicking him, treating him like shit and stuff like that. So if you want to kind of clarify what happened there and your perspective.
Or you can do what I do, Jeremy, and that's just tell everyone to fuck off. So
I don't really want to throw anyone under the bus or anything, but let's just say that so obviously things started to go pretty bad with the golden lineup. Sure, we had most of our top 4 finishes and all that, but when it went bad, it went really, really bad, and we had problems within the team when it came to in-game level. It was perfectly fine outside the game, and we stayed close friends even after he left. So the thing, what happened was that it started to arise within the team if we should change the in-game leader. And at that point, I think Xizt became free, and it was like more of a topic in the air. And then I think it was Fnatic probably approached NIP to see if there was a possibility and all that. Obviously, it was based on the reports, and based on the reports, it was pretty much a done deal. However, it wasn't really a done deal within the team yet. So the news coming out was obviously a big shock for Golden. It wasn't that big of a shock to the others of us, but we obviously didn't expect it to come out either, because it wasn't really a done deal when it all went down. But we had approached Golden with everything we had in mind. Like, it's not like it came out of nowhere that we had problems within the team. But that whole thing that came out was not any of the players' fault. Maybe some miscommunication, organizational wise or whatever. It shouldn't have come out. It shouldn't have happened the way it did. And we instantly talked to him about it, and he understood us as well. But obviously, he never want to get kicked. Nobody wants. But I think we had a good conversation, and after that, he said, like, I don't care. We're gonna go into WESG. We're gonna do our best, and then we talk after that. And we won WESG. We talked. We said, like, maybe we can work on our problems. Obviously, it's easier to have that mentality after a win and a few drinks in your body. But yeah, I think it's people saying that we treat him really, really shit. It's not true, and he would never come back to us if it was true. So yeah, I hope people can stop saying that we treat them like shit.
All right. Well, that's probably another good ending before we head into the next segment. The next one we're going to do, Lucas, if you're ready, we're going to be rocking the fantasy. So
I just created the team, so I'll just send in the link. I hope.
All right, so what we're doing is, ladies and gentlemen, is we're going to be creating the fantasy team between the 5 of us. That's Lucas, the producer, Prof, Striker, myself, and JW. JW has never played the fantasy before, so we're going to talk him through this. Now, we've dropped a link down the bottom. If you guys want to play your own fantasy, head over to HLTV.org/fantasy, and over there you can sign up to the public leagues, or you can make your own private league with your friends. If you don't have any friends, that's all right. Me either. That's why I have to force these guys to do a podcast with me. So make the team name whatever you want. And then we'll get going from there. And then once you're in JW, it's going to have like draft begins it and then the amount of time. Just hit open draft, and then that'll bring you into a page where you'll be able to see on the right, there's like, it says chat, pick order, log. Once everybody's in there and this draft starts thing drops down to the starting time, it'll have a pick order. And then what we're doing here, this one is going to be it's like a snake ladder. So if you're first, you get the first pick, then it just goes down. And if you're the last pick, you get 2 picks in a row. Then it works back up the ladder. Then first pick gets 2 picks in a row, and then it goes back down until everybody's picked all their players.
So just about the pointing system, it's just based on the rating. So if, let's say, someone gets a 1.20 rating in a match, he gets 20 points. If he goes like 0.8, he loses. He's like minus 20 points.
Okay.
So it's just based on the 1.0 and then who goes above.
But can you pick anyone you want, or is it like based on?
Well, basically, as long as nobody else picked him, yes.
Yeah,
basically, whoever is
there's
available,
not
he
like
can.
you have X amount of money.
No.
This is
when someone picks him,
out of anybody.
no one else can, and that.
Right.
Yeah. This is the live one.
So the thing with this is, just for people playing at home as well, once you pick your players, you can't change it. The things that you will be able to change are the bonuses. I forget the exact name.
Rolls and bonuses, yeah.
That's the one. And you can change those for every round, I believe it is. So you got to stay pretty active with those ones right there. But yeah, so this one here isn't to do with the value of players. It's just to do with who's available. So this is why the pick order is kind of important if like you wanted to pick, for example, simple. But there's no simple here, so we don't have to worry about that in this situation. You can also do like a little pre-draft thing. We won't be doing that at the moment. Maybe as we venture further down the seasons or the episodes we do, we'll try and have some goodies. Did you get into
the fantasy, by the way? I don't see you connected.
You have to refresh.
Everyone's connected.
Oh, I have to refresh? Okay, fair enough. Never mind.
So we've got 30 seconds. We're not far off now.
So yeah.
And then we'll get
so who's been doing good in practice in Europe? What?
I love the nickname that JW chose.
You see, how do you see it?
Because you can do, if you go into pick order, like on the right where you have the chat, you can go into pick order. I can see your nickname. I'm not gonna throw it out there if you don't want to. But it's a very HLTV nickname. I like it.
Yeah.
JW one
Keeping
major.
Up with the boys.
SPUNJ 0. That's pretty rough. All right, who got first? Wow, Prof got first.
This didn't happen in a long time.
And I'm last.
I'm second.
I think I guess it's kind of
obvious.
Let's go for the safe. Let's go for the safe picks.
See, Lucas always gets so high up. I swear to God, he fucking rigs it.
But I created the team this time, so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So whoever's available, you can just pick him. You can pick yourself, you know.
Oh, and you have a time limit as well. You have 45 seconds, I believe it is.
Yeah,
per pick.
You get the sound, bomb sound if you go down.
Yeah.
Going for a nav. I'm just picking a leash.
No fucking around here, mate.
What did you pick?
Ellie Giggle. I'm going for the W.
Ellie Giggle.
I didn't win in quite some time. Honestly,
I won the one we did at the major, and
you did.
I didn't get to gloat about it. Who was Justin?
Yeah, JKS.
Justin fucking owned.
Fuck it.
You had inside information. You told me
I
to
had
get
2
all
picks,
the
right.
eco frags.
There you go.
Oh yeah. You picked James?
Of course.
All right. Well,
because he's always gonna get good numbers. Let me tell you that. Like this is very calculated. This is not.
Can you put him a survivor?
You can do what is that?
Yeah, there's like camper or
that's right.
something.
There is a camper. Yeah, that's true.
Then you have one, I guess.
Who you going for, Prof?
I'm still
striker
picking.
even. Fuck.
Okay, I guess I have to go
Lucas,
for one of.
picked Breezy after its worst event, like in years.
Don't worry.
I mean, good for
He'll
us.
come back.
Ooh.
Yeah, some of the prices are kind of fucked because
It's a big event only.
I think the Pro League groups counted, and then obviously Sharks played the Latin America group, and
I don't think they counted because that's not a big event technically.
is it not? So where
No.
did they get the points?
Or at least I don't think that is like a big event because it's a qualifier technically.
That is true.
Lucas now putting all of his eggs in one basket.
Was it the big circ?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Oh, fuck. Now it's already starting to get kind of difficult.
Well, Glaive's still there. He just came off the back of an MVP.
That is true, but he doesn't win 2 MVPs back to back, so...
Well, you don't until you do, you know. Or you don't until you don't, I know, but...
So JW, how's your form these days? How's practice going?
We'll see.
Very
I'm saving
cryptic.
that for myself.
I'll just go for the pre.
How the fuck is Rez's rating? Oh, no, wait. That makes sense.
He had some bad...
Yeah.
Is it bad to be
performances.
orange or?
Orange is... Well, so gold is best, silver, and then bronze. So...
Oh,
Not-
okay, yeah, bronze of course.
Bronze is like
Fuck it.
1.00 and below, I think.
But I think, like... So Rez was saying when we did an interview with him on Pro League the other day, he was saying that he swapped a lot of roles with Plopsky.
Okay,
Plopsky,
that
like,
makes sense because they're both kind of passive
What happened
like-ish,
to
so...
me?
I picked you.
Oh, you picked me?
Yes.
Fuck.
Snake move.
Plopsky's like...
Now
entering
he has to like throw the games to fuck up my fantasy, which you will do. So.
Actually, I should have picked Brolin.
Little baby Brolin.
Yeah, you can have
The
him.
baby face killer.
Okay. Look.
I
for
actually have,
one,
I have a
believe.
challenge for you HLTV guys.
Okay.
You should get a picture of him smiling. Can you do that?
Oh, Brolin? That's hard as
Yeah.
fuck, man.
It's really hard. Guys.
He
his
always
stone
looks
face.
so fucking
Yeah,
down.
he has this like he's turning his face into a stone. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's his
it's like a
go-to.
massive poker face all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has this like baby face, but also like
Super
very
mad
serious, macho man in the same, like very
baby.
weird
Maddest of
combination.
babies.
Does he have something? Is it something up with his leg, or is that just how he walks? Because he has kind of like a limp-ish, but that's something I've noticed.
I think it's just I don't know. He just don't like to smile.
Okay.
Maybe we don't make him smile. That's a problem.
How the fuck did I find myself
to
in this
find-
position? Fuck.
Look at him on the picture, like I don't want to be here.
Why is this guy in front of me taking a picture of me?
Yeah.
There's a couple of pretty good players still left,
Yeah, it's not too bad.
I think.
like a Dren.
I mean, you also kind of have
Jesus.
to pick based on who you think is gonna like proceed. I guess.
Yeah, that's a
Well,
problem.
in
It
a
was
sense,
actually pretty
in
stupid
a
by me
sense.
to pick Naf when I think he's gonna bomb in the groups.
Yeah.
I think it's like
Alright.
when we don't think too much, then you do stupid shit like that. You pick JW.
I'm gonna go with
Yeah,
Forrest.
but you
and
still
his-
shouldn't pick, like the worst players of a team that's going to
Yeah,
go
that's
through,
true.
because they're always going to be like somewhere on the low end.
You know, when I watch NIP play, I've never seen an angry a bunch of guys like across the board. They all just look frustrated while they're playing.
Who?
NIP. None of them
okay.
look like they're having a good time.
Lycro is. I feel like Lycro is kind of like jokey.
Yeah, I guess. Maybe it's just because the camera on Pro League was always on twist after he missed an AWP shot, and he was just always so mad.
That's true.
He does that.
I mean, he does get nervous, kind of, at least on the camera and stuff. Lucas? Oh.
Well, if you want to make your team worse, yeah, there
Oh.
you go.
It's just random pick
There you
player.
There you go. Perfect.
There you go.
I wanted to pick him, honestly.
I was
Well,
thinking about it.
he's a good
Like
player.
for-
Like I
Or like
watched
a
him play.
fourth, fifth pick, but
But
The thing is, though, how much is he? He's not going to be able to pad his stats versus Astralis and Fnatic. You're not getting any fucking freebies versus those guys.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
that's
fair.
the issue.
That's fair
the
enough.
issue. So it's essentially between Buster and Kicker.
Or you could get Fur. Fur's not a bad shout.
That's fair enough. I just threw it out there for Prof, and he didn't catch up with it.
Oh, I have another pick. Your joke was dumb.
Yes. Nice. Exactly.
I
That's
think it's like
exactly
it's
what
about the delivery. You need to deliver it and be ridiculous about it. You just deliver
Okay.
it and just like you stay silent. So that Fallen did good.
Fallen was the highest rated player for MIBR at CAC. KNG was the lowest.
But yeah, I'm not touching MIBR just because they're in the other group, right?
There's always a chance.
Kind of
There's a
fun.
world that we live in.
Jesus, I'm gonna be left with God knows what.
I hate these players.
No hard feelings.
I don't know, but they always do so bad.
Insta-lock.
Going for
Ooh,
Fallen?
so who
Well, you got to
got
pick Golden
I'm
now,
up with-
because otherwise people will think you talk shit about him if you don't pick him. So
Everything confirmed, all
That's
the
a
bad
trap.
blood.
You put him in a tough spot there. I'm actually surprised nobody picked Rest though.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I guess
since
he had
the
a
role
hard time.
change, he hasn't been looking as good.
Maybe.
He did have a hard time at CAC, kind of.
Go for Kicker.
Yeah, pick
No one's,
Sanji.
no one's gonna make a big drama about you not picking Golden, don't worry.
You want some
now that you
headlines?
keep.
Oh,
now
wow.
that
You're not getting any headlines. I actually think Golden is very underrated, but I'm biased.
He actually,
Golden's a
like,
good
that's
player.
the
He has,
thing.
he
One
has-
of the,
actually has really good aim.
Yeah, for an in-game leader, he's good.
Yeah, I mean, like
no,
that 1-on-2 full eco versus NIP on Dust 2, like that headshot.
Oh
he
yeah,
gets
that's
along.
true. That's pretty
Like,
sick.
Rounds like that, like I only see him win those.
He wins
considering
those.
his role, he's been playing pretty good. I did not expect that. That was one of my biggest concerns with this team. Like, who's gonna do that role, like entry fragging? And
Yeah.
he's doing it pretty
He's
well.
incredibly hard-working guy as well, though. So
Fuck it. Might as well go for somebody
Oh
finger
dear.
pay since.
Oh dear.
Fuck it.
All right, so then you'll see assign roles, JW, just at the top, like just above your drafted team. Hit assign roles, and then when you go here, so you've got roles, and then you've got boosters. Boosters has a little new thing. The boosters, you can only use each booster once, and that is for each round. And then
Okay.
the roles,
Yeah, we'd have
you
to
can,
come back like or technically like you could just pre-do it like for every round and ahead, but it's obviously like you'd want to check out what's happening in the match and stuff. So yeah, like the boosters, they are kind of like for mid-tournament adjustments and stuff, like for bonus points. So if you have the time to go back and just adjust some,
okay.
but you can use you can use everyone just once. Can't yeah, you can't reuse them after you've used them on somebody for like the first round or something.
I hope
Oh,
I
yeah,
lose
it's
guys
kind of-
off. That's my chance.
This is pretty hard
IGL
actually to
and
put the roles.
Yeah, I mean, depends on, that's something that you kind of also should think about, like when you put together a team. Nobody ever does because I just don't,
Yeah,
you just
I
think
mean, I
about
always think
whoever's
about
the
like
best.
the opper because
Yeah,
the
that's
opper
true.
role is pretty easy to get.
I once
to get
picked
points.
4 offers and then it was fucked.
Then you put like one on camper, which
I will
put
put one on
device.
Kemper and then one on CT side or something, and then it kind of worked out, but it wasn't great.
The problem is, have the matches been announced yet, or is it just the groups?
the
Everything
matches is announced. Yeah. So first game is Fnatic MIBR Astralis Sharks, and then in the other groups it's NIP versus was it EG?
Yeah.
should be. And
Yeah,
EG
and,
Algar, I think.
Isn't it? Wasn't Liquid the higher seed? So Liquid Avangar.
I think
Too
they
sure,
did.
actually. It is
Probably.
announced at least.
Not be. I mean, we have the matches up: EG Avangar, Liquid Nip, Astralis Sharks, Fnatic MIBR.
There we go.
So SPUNJ, are you happy about baiting JW into picking Golden?
Yeah.
Rate that happiness 1 to 8, please.
Bait. It's too late to commiserate. I think I'm going to put Liquid is never behind, which is just ridiculous. No, wait, never mind. Let's change this. Never behind Astralis would be a good one.
Yeah.
You should use most of the boosters on the best of threes because it just works.
I mean, aren't they all best of threes? No, they're not.
The first
Opening
game
round
was
is
the one
yeah,
that
true.
Alright, I'm going to save them then. Fuck it. I'll get points
Okay.
later down the track. Alright, well, you guys fiddle with
figure
that.
out.
I
Fiddle with
already
that. We got
fiddled
one
with it.
topic
Fuck it.
left, and that's going to be called Playtime. And I don't know. Do
We do
we
have-
a
we
wipe?
do have-
got a
we
wipe
do have
for
one,
this
yeah,
thing? Alright, well, fucking play the wipe. Who the fuck made these, Lucas? Where did these come from? Like,
This is from the top dog, Martin.
so Martin made them, or Martin just
He
went out.
didn't make. He picked them. It was a brainstorm. Let's say.
Okay, well, look, we're here, and this one
let's
is
just
called.
say, let's just say Martin has 2 little kids at home, right? So
Yeah, I respect it. He does. He does. Look, I'm 30 now, or no, I'm home alone, and I'm so lonely. So if anybody wants to have kids with me,
Muted?
look, in that case, you can't complain about the amount of work you have.
We are muted.
Wait, we're muted.
These
They
great
missed
jokes.
all of it. They missed all of it. All of the jokes.
That's-
I have to repeat the bit about I want to have kids, and if anyone has, someone out there who wants a fertile man who makes a decent amount of money, I'm ready. Sign me up.
Yeah. Did you check the fertility or just like fake advertising?
No, yeah, I got it on good authority.
You mean okay? Never mind. No, I'm not gonna go there.
We don't need to.
No, I'm not gonna go there. Never mind.
You can use your imagination on.
No,
on that
I
one.
was okay.
Fuck.
But that we got so that apparently that's what we'll now call as sponge mode. Yeah.
What?
Well, because we got sports mode.
Oh, okay.
When we're all muted, it'll be sponge mode. Anyway, we got Playtime, which is assembling the best possible team from free agents that are available. Now, I have no idea who the free agents are at the moment.
I put together. There's a list on TeamSpeak. Lucas can put it up on the stream so people can see it as well.
All right, let's do this. And what we're going to do with it is we'll read through all the names initially, and then what I want to do is I want to give JW is the professional here. We'll give him 2 players to pick, and the rest of us will pick 1 player, and we'll try and form a good team.
Okay. Holy
Can you
shit.
zoom in on that for us, Lucas? Because my eyes are fucking terrible.
My internet is so bad. I only see like 5 pixels. So
You have it on TeamSpeak. So
Oh, here we
you
go.
can
I
see
know
part
I opened it.
Okay.
properly.
So I'm going to read through names here, and we're going to yay or nay these names as we go to even come into the mix. Holy
so
shit.
So
there's
if
a
we're
lot of
making a
there's a
team-
lot of people, man.
No, actually, fuck that.
No, let's not do that.
We're going to read through these names here. I'll just read through the names, and we'll say stop if we want to discuss one of the names. Friberg, Draken, Disco Doppler.
Look, I'm gonna wait. Stop at Friberg. Might as well fuck it because
All right.
I think he was okay in heroic. He might not have been like the best fragger, but I think like mentality wise, and just as like kind of like an additional player, like a 5th one, I think he's a pretty decent choice for like a semi good team. You know.
Are we operating under the fact that all of these people assumably speak English?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So even though we know somebody like, I don't know.
Look, there's a like a good
Edward.
six Swedish players, you know, but we assume they speak English, I guess.
Okay.
At least for most of them.
Dosia definitely doesn't.
Yeah,
speak English.
Dosia doesn't.
But
All
we
right.
can
Rough
make a CS team if we want.
Do
to.
any names jump off the list here to anybody as a must-have, like right now?
I'm gonna look biased as fuck, but I think it is Oscar.
Oscar would be the one to stick out. That's the problem, because the only other name to me that stands out off the paper who I would pick without a doubt would be Wardell.
Yeah,
I can't have
same.
Oscar and Wardell.
Well,
To me,
Oscar never
actually-
wanted to play the primary opera initially, so it's like
To me, actually, I would straight away go with Scream.
Oh.
okay.
You played with him that one
Yeah,
time.
we played with him. I'm still to this day so surprised by how he's not in a team. Like, hands down, one of the best team players I've dealt with He had no problems with communicating. He could take every position in the game. Like he sure, maybe he didn't do it the best, and he even said that maybe this is not my best position, but he would take it if that's what's for the team. And yeah, he had no issues with grenades or anything. Like, still, I'm super sad that he's not in a team. Actually, I'm very surprised by him as a team.
I don't mind him put him in this imaginary team that we're building. I think it's fine.
I mean, looking at all the other names, I think it's okay.
More of like a role player, or like what are we talking here? Like,
yeah, I think you should put him in more like a role player, and you have a role player that can sometimes get those 5 one-shots, right? But I don't think you should put him in a star player position.
So he shouldn't be that like second guy in, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Like maybe he have been more like a star player in most of his teams, but I don't think that necessarily is a role that fits him. But I think he was good in our when we played with him.
All right, so if we start with Scream, now can we make? We're not making the rules here. Well, we are making the rules. Can we make Existence the coach? Can we?
I mean, why not? Why not?
Okay.
We said best squad. It's so
can we write them down? Who has the access to the doc?
I think anybody can, but whatever team.
No, I can't. It's you only.
Scream, and then coach. Existence. There you go.
If we're going for the op, I think I
look. It could be Yumpy as well, Oscar. But the problem is with the talks about the VAC ban, you know.
Yeah,
so that's hard to say.
Ban, but then also like he's not really free, I guess. I mean, he has this contract with his Finnish team, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's not really free.
That's what I said. That's what I said under. It's like obviously he was like part of those OG talks, so he's obviously down. But who knows how the situation
I think he's an obvious pick, but I think we should play the game without him.
Okay, fair enough. I'm okay with that. So I guess like Allbirds, it must be like either Oscar or Wardell in that case. I think because who else?
Yeah,
because Mertz has changed like 3 different teams. JDM is long gone.
I think like Mertz and Draken are kind of in the same boat.
Oh yeah, true.
I don't think a lot of people want to play with them.
What about, here's a crazy one. What about JR? Because he could in-game lead and all.
Okay. English not being an issue.
We're pretending that he speaks English.
Actually, he had pretty decent English, I would say.
There you go.
Playing games with him. Yeah.
Because he would did a lot of the AWPing duties before, right? For Vega.
We couldn't find a better in-game leader in this.
Well, that's the question. So other in-game leader names we'd be looking at would be Xizt, Neo.
Look, I think for this type of team, I think Xizt would actually be okay. I don't know if you guys agree with this, but this
like
kind of
discarding Xizt and Friberg and
well, because only a rumor, right?
Yeah.
Sure. At this point, it's just so fresh that who knows how much truth there is to that, right? How far along it is.
I think Oscar is like better than all of these players here by a country mile. So I think like not putting him in, even if he's gonna be an issue in the team, I think for the short term he's gonna give you the boost to get you into the invites for like a DreamHack Open and stuff like that. So even if you kick him after that, you can get something out of it.
I agree.
All right.
JW is smiling over there.
Okay. I'll just put him. Did you want to add something?
No. I think like I agree. I've never played with him. Haven't really heard that much about him. But obviously there must be something because I think he's a great player. Like same there. I'm pretty surprised that he is not locked down somewhere because when he pops off a game, he can win the game alone.
Yeah, he's one of those players.
Yeah. What about HS? Like he's
I was thinking about it when I was putting this together. I was thinking about him a lot too.
I don't know what
he's a weird one to me. I think it seems like he's always ending up on the short end in all teams. I don't know why, but he seems like a decent player, but it never breaks through, kind of.
Yeah, he has been around for like in that level for a while now. He was in that Penta team with Sonny and.
We could start getting saying players we wouldn't pick, right? So like Edward, no one here's picking
probably
Edward,
not,
right? No,
probably not.
Victor,
just like do a strike through or something. So
okay.
Victor, I don't know. I'm indifferent. Probably.
It's such a random element.
It's not a first pick to me, but I could see it in a universe, I guess.
JDM's a no.
JD is a no.
Ricky's probably a no.
Yeah.
Six a no.
Are we sure about Sick? I don't know about.
I don't know much about him, but I don't know
That's the
enough
thing.
to like to pick him either.
He's like one of those like edge cases for me, which is just because I just don't have enough. Like I haven't watched him enough lately that to be able to say anything.
I think Phelps is actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say with Phelps without the role overlap with Fur, and maybe if he was a bit more of an alpha male, then maybe he'd fit that role a little bit better.
That INTZ team, he was doing pretty well. With
Did we strike
KG.
Victor or not?
What?
Did we
Leave
strike
him for
Victor?
now. We might come back to him.
Okay.
Just leave him, man.
I guess we're striking MP because we said we wouldn't just for the sake of the game.
I think we could strike Neckers and Horvey as well, probably,
Yeah.
and Def.
Yeah.
Def is maybe okay for like the 5th player, but
I guess we could.
I think
we're
there's
still
better-
missing like an
I think
in-game
there's
leader.
better 5th players. on
yeah,
the list.
I
Okay.
think.
What about the
yeah.
in-game leader part of it, though? Because now we're getting into
that's
that.
true. I have
Like
no
it's
idea
either
about
exists or I guess JR at this point.
Well, if we put
there's
out of
Neo
these,
too.
out of these, I would put Xizt.
Yeah,
but I'm
I have-
biased.
I have the same thoughts. Like I think this team that would be kind of like semi-individualistic. You know, I think Exist would fit in that pretty well.
We're
Like, at
ending up
least
with
to
so
start
many
them off,
old
you know.
names here as well. Look at the names we have for each other.
Well, that's
Jesus.
I mean, that's a big part of why they're free as well, right? Because they've just been around for a long time and they haven't gone anywhere in a long time as well.
Someone that I'm not sure about you guys, but someone that I'm pretty surprised with as well is Refresh. I think he did an
Yeah.
amazing job over in Cloud9, and then for whatever
Okay.
reason he decided to not stay
I
there.
think
He got
that
kicked
was-
from Optic though, right?
Yeah, but
he
it
got
was
he got
his
an
own
offer to join
choice.
Optics.
Yeah,
That's
it
why
was
he
his
didn't
own
go.
choice to not go to Cloud9. But I think he did amazing in Cloud9. Like that standing period, it was very, very good.
He had some good clutches as well. Like he was quite good in the clutch situations, I thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do we put in Refresh?
I vote an
For a
A
fourth
on
one?
Refresh.
No,
Nothing
an
against
A?
the guy, but I think he was pretty overrated based on that
Like
blast
people,
event.
yeah, exactly. People,
And that Star Series before because of that Star Series he got invited when the Fraxters team fell apart. Then he got invited to stand in for Cloud9. I think it's pretty like after that he didn't do much to justify a pick
okay.
in this team. Like I don't know.
But then that's looking at names.
Well,
like,
I'm gonna keep him on and see if we can find like better options for now.
Yeah, I'm fine. I mean, if you all want to pick him, then
I'm like
fair. I
I'm
just
on
want
the
to make
fence
my-
about him, and I'm seeing like about the other names if we can find two like better names. You know, that's what
So-
I'm looking at.
if we get someone who can, because right now there's no one on the team who have to do like secondary AWPing, right? It's Oscar and then that's it.
Right.
So
Oscar doesn't even have, like I was saying at the start, Oscar wouldn't even have to be playing the op, like
I
not
don't.
full
I
time.
don't want that. Oscar, yeah. I want
want
Oscar
the
that
AWPing
ops.
one.
I don't know
Yeah.
who Oscar with the rifle, except on Nuke, which is sometimes good, sometimes not that good.
Right.
Like on the op, that's a fucking amazing player.
I mean, Oscar on Nuke before he started fucking playing the
Shotgun?
XM all the time. Like before he was doing that, he was sick on Nuke, man. Like he was such a good player on Nuke for Mouse Sports when they played like a normal meta, you know, not the fucking XM on upper all the time. Like before he was doing that, he was really good with the rifle, and that was the only map that he rifled on. So that's what I was like. I was pissed about that.
who did Calix stand in for?
For
Alex
Windigo,
was
right?
playing for
He was playing with Windigo. Yeah.
Felix, is
There
he
you go.
really a free agent now? Isn't he playing with Heretics? Maybe that's someone else.
Heretics
you're
are
thinking
French,
of-
right?
The Heretics are French, yeah. No, he was playing
Calix-
with Windigo until he I don't know, he got out of there
maybe it's
recently.
Something disbanded or
Yeah.
something.
I can see like he was playing with some mix. He was playing with that mix with was it Loba? Was Loba in that team?
2115.
no, that
That's
was
like
Mertz,
Mertz or
Mertz,
something.
HS, Bialy, Stark, Calix. That's like a weird kind of mix that they played at some qualifier for Epicenter, I think. Yeah,
Luke Bet
it's-
season 5.
I was looking at that. It's Mertz Stark as well, but some
What about
Misuka,
I think-
Disco, whatever.
Wasn't Quick last playing for Windstrike?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he hasn't had a team since.
Yeah,
He
he
did-
wasn't doing that well.
His stats weren't very good, were they? I remember from that team, like the one that always excited me was Norbert.
Yeah,
Was it Norbert?
He is
yeah,
benched
for a while
on
he was
Indigo,
there.
though.
He was benched in Windstrike, I don't know, like a month ago maybe.
Windstrike, yeah.
Well, let's look at what we have filling out what roles, right? We've got existing game leading. We've got Oscar doing the AWPing. We've got Scream playing more of like a supportive type, you know, put him where you need in position.
But we kind of need stars now.
We need stars. So like Phelps would be one that I would take a risk on to be a star.
And what about Calix? I think his fits into that pretty well.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he was together with Santaris.
I mean, honestly, like skill-wise, he
very,
might.
very good.
Yeah, skill-wise, he might be the best player out of them all at this point. Like out of everybody else, I think he's the best skill-wise. So I think we have to put him there.
Yeah, I think I agree. Actually, I think him and Santaris was the reason that Space Soldiers was so like got those wins.
Yeah, put in Calix.
Okay, putting in Calix. I guess we need like a secondary star-ish, something like that.
I mean,
I kind of like the Phelps idea.
I think Phelps is like an aggressive player on this team.
Yeah,
I think it works actually. I think it's
and I
actually
also
a pretty good
think in this kind of team he could be more demanding. I think he could say that he wants certain positions or take more space overall. I think, and I think that's something he needs as a player.
Sure. Yeah, when he was that way in Immortals, he was doing really well. Like he could come up with like different solutions to certain rounds and like play around smokes very well, and things like that. When he was like in the star role, he was doing pretty well. So yeah, I kind of agree with that. I like Phelps in there.
Yeah, I'm on board. Scream,
honestly,
Oscar,
this is not a bad team.
Calix, Phelps, and Existence coaching. I don't know how we've done it, but we've literally just solved world peace and cured cancer at the same time.
Let me see, like how much Xizt is under contract. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at how much of these players.
Fnatic.
Yeah. So Scream is not with Gamer Legion anymore. I'm guessing he's not even contracted.
Shouldn't be, no.
Oscar is not. He was saying that recently. He got out of Hellraisers like 2 months ago. And Xizt, Fnatic, we said that. Calix is probably free. We must imagine, especially with Wendigo, breaking up as an org.
Phelps is still contracted.
Phelps is still
to MIBR.
MIBR, yeah. So not too bad, like buyout wise. Existence is free, I'm guessing.
I mean, I think we can get like the HLTV guys to do an Indiegogo or something. We can buy them out and own them together.
Yeah, we just gotta get a few more of those GG bet ads going on.
Look,
right?
with the amount of orgs that are looking for teams, for these leagues, how God knows, like, if we wouldn't be able to find somebody who would just like try to tie these players down. Problem is like making them play together, I guess, because God knows like how. Yeah,
if I'm
have
Genji,
no idea.
Buy this team. Don't fucking buy Cloud9. Buy these guys. This is you get more value for your money out of this than you will out of that Cloud9 team.
More bang for the buck.
That's the shit right
Oscar
there.
isn't going to move to the US to play.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. I know that's not going to happen for a fact, but it doesn't have to. He could, like, for a month at a time, I feel like you could kind of make him do that. I think he would be willing to budge on that in that case. I've got an
idea. What if we get, JW, you be on board with this. What if we get OnePlus to sponsor this team?
Oh, OnePlus, okay. Why
and then
OnePlus?
they can play Counter-Strike on their phones on the beautiful 90 hertz that are now available.
But then I think we should block Spotify for Oscar, actually.
Okay, we can do that.
I heard Spotify
Turn Fnatic mode off.
Good for him.
What?
I heard
what does that mean?
Have you never heard?
No,
I
don't.
Like during some match at the tournament, he turned on music because he was tilted or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean,
wait, in the middle of a game?
Like Oscar,
yeah, because they were losing the first game, and apparently the coach said that he has turned on Spotify and listened to music for the game instead.
Okay.
Oh dear.
I mean, honestly, that kind of sounds like what he would do.
Well, you learn something new every day. I think we covered everything.
The only thing we didn't cover is the mouse thing. So we can do like 60 seconds about talking about mouse winning the CS:GO Asia Championship, so the mouse fans in chat can be happy, and then we can end the show.
All right, I'm gonna give you all a point here. Well, let's start with JW. JW, were you surprised to see Mouse Sports win?
Both yes and no. I think based on recent performances, I think it wasn't expected. But if you look at the team overall, I think it's quite expected, and I think this is the kind of win that they need to be a strong team. I really think they have the players to be a strong team, but the results have not been there. So hopefully this is what wakes them up.
Going to move this to Striker now. Striker, do you think that Mouse Sports will be able to protect your 1,000 euros from me as we venture further and further towards me winning?
Look, Mouse just won a tournament, so
okay.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
You've picked the worst time to bring this up. Like literally, a European team has just won a fairly big tournament.
Yeah, double down.
So
That's what I want. Double down.
Yeah,
because when I'm
double.
right, it's going to
Yeah.
make. No, I don't want to bet more. We're not gonna bet
I
more.
want to
2,000 euros
come on
is quite a lot.
SPUNJ's side. I want to come on SPUNJ's side just for the fucks. And then you
Okay.
guys need to add another 1,000.
I'm not
On
going to
the-
do that
on the
because 2,000 euros. Look, 2,000 euros is quite a lot of money at this point, and I'm saving up for a house, so no, thank you.
Okay, well, on the tournament as a whole, do you have any takeaways?
What are you talking about now? Sorry.
CAC.
Oh, there you go. Honestly, because of how weird like the whole tournament was, I felt like with how Mouse could have easily gone out in the semifinals, literally just one round goes another way. Voxic doesn't clutch a 1v3, and they could have gone out in semifinals, and Tyler would have gone on to win the event probably. Like I feel like this event has told us nothing outside of EG being, in a weird spot at this point. I think that's the only real takeaway we have from CAC.
Actually told us that Tyloo are playing some sort of a real Counter-Strike thing, and they're playing more maps.
I felt like
they
they were
kind
just
of improved, and they actually play off of each other. Communication seems to be working. They're on the same TeamSpeak. Some of these things that are like pluses for Tyloo and for like Chinese CS, like we all want Chinese CS to be a thing, not to be maybe the best thing in the world, but for them to compete and for the fan base to be involved, that's better for everyone, I think. So they're playing something a bit better. And just touching on Mouse Sports, like this was definitely needed. I think, I don't know, for 6 months I put it out on Twitter. They're literally at the same level. They're like number 8 to number 12 in the world. They get to a playoff and then they lose. It's been pretty rough for them. Even if you look at the big events played for like Rops and Voxic, they're the two players that could make the top 20 this year. They don't even make like the basic automatic filter. They just get cut off because they had like 52 maps or something when, I don't know, EG has 100 big event maps played. Stuff like that. I think they really needed this, and maybe this kind of turns the ship on Mouse Sports.
Okay, and this is the I guess the only other real talking point here is ENTs. Is anybody sold yet? Are you sold, Prof?
I don't know. I wasn't sold on that level of events that we saw at the first 3 events being the real events either. So I think this is more like what we should be seeing from this team.
All right. Well, I guess we wrapped up most of the bits and pieces. Anyone got anything else they'd like to say?
not particularly. Oh, actually, never mind.
You good?
Nothing. I'm good.
All right. Strike is good.
Because
Well,
I was
we're all
like,
good.
I was just about to reply to Devilwalk, who told me on Twitter that the conversation we had about the second round Krieg and stuff like that, that's something that has to be taken into consideration. And why I said it, fuck it, was because we already talked about it. He said that the damage on the economy from the second round buys, even from like the 6K buys and stuff, where people only buy one Krieg and maybe like a little bit of utility around it, have like a pretty big impact on CT economy, which is a fair point. It's just very hard to gauge for me. Like, it's incredibly hard to go into those numbers, and it would require like a different research, unfortunately.
Fix
Sure.
the economy.
Yeah.
What?
Fix the economy.
Fix the
Oh, yeah.
economy. Please,
Just
Valve.
like address it a bit.
Please,
These
Valve,
are
take
kind
a
of
look.
fucked.
We need you to have a look, Valve. But this has been the return show. This is season number 4. Thank you to JW for joining us. JW, you have anything you want to say to your fans? Anything you want to say for your organization or sponsor? Any of those bits and pieces?
Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for all the trolls tuning in. I'm happy to see so many trolls in the chat.
Well, it's good news because as we move forward with season 4, I'm going to be petitioning to get rid of the forums completely. It won't just be sports mode. And I'm also going to continue to sleep on Cloud9. We'll be back with an episode hopefully sooner rather than later. Prof will be going to ECS, but we'll see if we can fit something in before Pro League, maybe. We'll see what we can do. This is Peace Out, A-Town, West Side. See you all next time on the show. Also head over to HLTV, anchor.fm/HLTV for the podcast in its audio version. Goodbye.